Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto snaps at Sasuke in Wave. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by OXY27, link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Okay, enjoy the story. Team 7 had just returned from their mission in the land of Wave. They walked through the gates and all relaxed visibly. Even the stiff Sasuke looked to be more laid back, while Sakura dropped to her butt and gave a hefty sigh. Kakashi closed his book and tucked it back into his pouch with a smile behind his mask. Their Chunnin in his ninja attire turned his one eye to Naruto. Out of the three, he expected Naruto to shout, run around, and scream at the top of his lungs. But instead, the boy looked to be in deep thought, almost drowning in them. Perhaps his mind was still in Wave while his body just moved along. What's wrong, Naruto? You've been silent the entire trip back. That wasn't like the bright blonde. From his bright hair and blue eyes to neon orange jumpsuit. He wanted to be seen and heard. Sasuke cast a side-eyed look at his teammate, Naruto, who had fought for him. His now-named rival was being distant. The blonde was extremely out of character. Even when Sasuke bragged hoping to poke at Naruto, he got nothing and was brushed aside as if he were Sakura. Sakura also looked at Naruto from the ground with a raised brow. He seemed to be thinking very hard about something. Yay. Why are you being all quiet? Aren't you happy to be home? Sakura knew that would get an answer out of him. He always answered her. Naruto looked up holding a frown on his lips. I've just been thinking, that's all. Oh, what were you thinking about? Kakashi asked. If it's taking me on a date. Forget it. Sakura waved her fist at Naruto from the ground. The threat was clear and the intent shone in her eyes. I was thinking how unprepared I was. For this mission and really everything, you know. Naruto's voice was uncharacteristically soft and light. I thought I knew everything, that I was ready for the shinobi life. That I was strong, that I had moved on from being weak and helpless. Naruto, this was your first mission and things didn't go how they should have. It happens, it's something you're going to have to learn. I've been on too many missions to count where that was the case. Kakashi lectured, getting closer to Naruto and placing a hand of comfort on his shoulder. Naruto slightly shook his head. No, sensei, I was a danger to you all. I caused more trouble than I should have. If I had just thought things through, maybe that mission could have gone better. That's one way to look at it. No matter how perfect you are, you can always find a way to improve and become better. Kakashi really felt nostalgic right now. It was these same words his sensei had told to him years ago. When he was throwing a fit at the slightest obstacle and berating anyone and anything that served to annoy him. Zabuza was right, I've been taking this too lightly. I didn't really know what being a ninja meant. But I finally understand. To be a shinobi is to endure and overcome. Naruto took off his headband and gazed at the face looking back at him. He then felt the gaze of someone on him and looked to the monument to see the fourth Hokage's stone face. It looked as if it was smiling at him. I'm going to change and be better. And I never go back on my word because that is my ninja way. Now he was grinning again. His fist raised to the fourth Hokage's stone face. I'll be someone my parents can be proud of, whoever they are. Kakashi looked surprised for a moment before smiling down at his student. Great. You two could learn something from Naruto. HMPH, as if that loser could teach me anything. Sasuke crossed his arms and looked away, not wanting to show his smirk. I don't want to say it, but Naruto's right. I was completely useless during this mission. I didn't do a thing, just cried over Sasuke. Sakura thought, also feeling pathetic. The girl got a real wake-up call during this mission. Being a shinobi was real work that put her life on the line of all corners. Me too, sensei. I'm going to be better. Huh? You too, huh? Well, that sure is great, isn't it? Kakashi turned to see Sasuke. The cherry on top, if only Sasuke. HMPH. Never mind, they all should have known better. We can do it together, Sakura-chan. Naruto reached his hand out for the pinket to grab onto. She gripped Naruto's hand and was pulled to her feet. The three of us, the strongest cell in the history of the Leaf Village. We can pull this team together so easily. If he wises up, as he said, he could become a team leader and lead this team without me. He's a natural born leader. Kakashi's lips pulled up into a smile. I'm really starting to like these guys. But I will see you guys later, I'm going to visit the old man about something. I'm going there as well, I can take you. Kakashi placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder and looked at the other two. Take the next 3 days off. And the Chunnin was gone in a gust of leaves. Whoa, what jutsu was that? Sakura asked, picking up one of the leaves that appeared out of nowhere. Before looking toward Sasuke with a blush. Sasuke-kun, do you maybe wanna go on a date? Sasuke gave her a flat stare while she remained hopeful. Didn't you just say you'd do better? Go train and be of some use. You are so annoying. With his piece said, Sasuke walked off to his apartment to rest up and also self-reflect. Sakura's head dropped. Sasuke was right, she did say that. Now she had to follow through on it and make something of herself. Maybe then Sasuke would go out with her. Until she shook her head. I have to become better for myself, not for anyone else. Like Naruto, he wants to better himself, and so will I. When Kakashi and Naruto appeared again, they were in the Hokage's office. Sensei, what jutsu was that? Naruto asked, trying to find his balance. It's called the body flicker. A teleportation jutsu. When can I learn it? Instead of shouting or demanding, Naruto just asked with a curious gaze. It was clear to Kakashi that the boy was really trying to hold back his shouts. Whenever you learn to control that abnormal chakra of yours, is that something I should work on? It is, you spend a lot of chakra just using your shadow clone jutsu. If you correctly manage the amount of chakra used on your shadow clones, you could save even more reserves of your unlimited chakra reserves. And then you could use that chakra for even more powerful jutsu. Chakra control is a fundamental skill in the understanding of chakra. Without that, you would just be pouring gallons of water into cups of water. It was Hiruzen who spoke this time. He had just listened to the student and teacher go back and forth until he could intervene at the right time. Oh, so if I control more of my chakra, I can use the rest for even stronger jutsu. Naruto had finally come to an understanding of the situation. He was off to a good start, already he was making improvements. So what brings you here? Are you going to show Naruto how you do mission reports? Hiruzen asked, stamping his signature onto a piece of paper on his desk. No, I am here to give my report though. Naruto has his own reason. Kakashi moved to the desk and pulled a scroll from his vest pocket. He set it on the desk and moved back to Naruto. I am here to ask you about the shadow clone jutsu. And what about it? Since you are an old man, you must know a lot about jutsu. Hiruzen's brow twitched, but he let Naruto keep going. And I was wondering if there is anything else I might have missed when I took the scroll not too long ago. Yes, due to my vast knowledge and fountain of jutsu knowledge. I know a little about the shadow clone jutsu. That was an understatement. He knew all there was to know about the jutsu, since his sensei, the second Hokage, was the one to create the shadow clone jutsu. You said you had mastered the jutsu, Naruto, was that a lie? Kakashi obviously teased Naruto. The boy flushed and poked his fingers together. What? I don't remember saying that. You've got me mistaken for someone else. Anyways, there is a key fact you missed when learning the jutsu. The most important jutsu. Hiruzen took a hit from his pipe and blew out small white clouds. The shadow clone jutsu can recall the memories of each clone. So, you can theoretically gain the experience of each clone along with everything it has discovered. Hiruzen saw no harm in Naruto learning the true secret to the jutsu. He already had a very good understanding of the jutsu anyways. This would not only make Naruto more powerful, but it would also bolster the strength of the village for their Jinchuriki to master the jutsu. And if he was being honest, Hiruzen owed Naruto this. That means I could gain double the training if I used another clone to help me with training. I could get years of training done in only a couple of days if I summoned thousands of clones. Despite how hard he tried, Naruto couldn't help but yell out his excitement. Man, I'm gonna train even harder now. Here, take this. Kakashi dropped a bag of coins in Naruto's hand. This is your payment for completing this A rank mission. Go and buy some new clothes to signify a change. Those are about to fall apart anyway. What? A rank. Your team had a C rank. Hiruzen said. You'll see in the report, it was something, to say the least. Naruto looked down at his torn jacket and pants. They were in tatters and had clear signs of damage. His pant leg was missing from the ankle down, while his right sleeve was torn open. Damn, this was the only ninja gear I had. Well, go treat yourself, Naruto. You deserve it. I am proud you are changing your life around. Kakashi's words were from the heart. He was really glad that Naruto would aim to do better. Just what happened on that mission? Was Hiruzen's worried thoughts. Yeah, thanks. I'll see you around, old man and Kakashi-sensei. Naruto dismissed himself and left through the door. So, Kakashi. Want to inform me on what the hell happened on his protection mission? And why it caused such a drastic shift in Naruto's mind from just one mission? Now Naruto was walking down the streets of the village, being subjected to the hateful gazes as always. Did these people have anything else to do? One day, they would all respect him and look up to him. But for now, he'd just ignore them and carry on with his life. But what store would he go to? There were a lot of options, but most stores just kicked him out or charged him more than usual for the food. Those stores were civilian shops, so hopefully, a ninja shop would be better. There was a rather large store to his left with a giant kunai as his logo. Taking a chance, Naruto opened the door and sounded a bell. Hello. Welcome in. A cheery voice greeted him from a counter. Naruto looked to see a brunette girl about 1 year older than him. She gave a welcoming smile as she stared through soft brown eyes. Her hair was tied up in 2 twin buns that looked like that of a panda or mouse ears. She was also oddly familiar to him as if he'd known this person his whole life. Her outfit was rather cute if he was honest, a navy blue kipao-styled sleeveless shirt with red trimmings on the edge. Her pants were black bottoms rolled up past her ankles with a ninja pouch on her left thigh. She's a ninja. Naruto noted by the blue forehead protected tight around her head. So there was a chance she'd let him stay. Is there anything I can help you with? She was polite. Off to a good start. I am looking for shinobi attire. This is my first time here, so could you show me around? Naruto was also being polite. Trying to place a lid on his loudmouth personality. Follow me this way. Our clothes are in the back corner of the store. She quickly came from around the corner to show she had blue shinobi sandals. Oh okay. Naruto followed the girl to the back store as she asked him a question. Is this your first time here? Yay, I've never really shopped for equipment before. Really? Then how did you get a hold of your equipment? I just used what was provided by the academy. And you're still alive. You must be lucky. Ha. Or it's just that I'm a super ninja with unmatched skill. Welp, that lid exploded. It would take some time for him to settle down and become more of a thoughtful individual after all. She giggled to herself and the buns on her head twitched with her laughter. That seemed to flash something in his brain. He'd seen that before, he was sure of it. And this feeling between the two of them was so strong and rich in fondness. Your buns twitch when you laugh, that's adorable. You're like a little mouse. He said half-heartedly while stifling his own laugh. Do this, the girl froze in her tracks. She turned around and looked at him with wide eyes. Say that again. I said your buns twitch when you laugh. She stared at him for seconds on end. She looked to be searching for something in his eyes. It was making him a little uncomfortable as girls didn't look at him for this long. Especially the cute ones. So what was she looking for? Your name, what is it? Naruto Uzumaki. If possible, her eyes got even wider and she stumbled backward as her knees started to shake. It's you, I've been looking for you. Her eyes watered and she engulfed Naruto in a tight hug, resting her head against his neck. Where did you go, Naruto? There was something about the way she said that and how she hugged him. It was starting to come back to him as he took in her features. Brown hair, oak-colored eyes, and she had a birthmark on the back of her neck. It was her, that girl from long ago. His first friend. Back when Naruto still lived in an orphanage with the other kids. When he used to get picked on and always ended up in fights with the other kids. He was known as a problem child that would never get adopted by anyone and would forever be alone. Never to be loved or cared for. What a loser. You think you could ever become Hokage? Of course I can, I'll prove it to you. I'll show you all how great I am. Naruto shouted to the three kids in front of him. Yeah right. He was punched in the face by one of the kids. Which Naruto growled and turned around to slam a fist in the kids in the face with a punch that laid him flat on his back. He wasted no time and went for the other two, but was quickly overpowered by the older boys and brought to the ground. Where they proceed to kick him repeatedly over and over. Little punk, as if the village would ever accept a monster like you. The girl came around the corner. She gasped in shock. What are you doing? What does it look like? Putting this loser in his place. Her face twisted into anger and she rushed forwards and dealt with the boys quickly. Just a couple of well-placed punches and they were crying for the caretaker. HMPH, jerks. She looked toward the blonde boy getting back to his feet and whipping his nose of the blood. I had that under control. Naruto huffed. Yeah sure buddy. You may have hit that one guy, but that's it, you have no combat skill whatsoever. I didn't need a girl to save me. Is there a problem with me being a girl? Hashi raised her fist while her eyes blazed with fury. No. I was just joking. Not funny. She crossed her arms. You're welcome by the way. Thanks, I guess. He said looking at her. Her eyes became more gentle. I heard what they were saying. Do you think they are right? Want to laugh at my dream? Naruto didn't even sound like he cared too much. He became numb to the laughter at this point. Of course not. I think it's good that you want to become Hokage. It's better than what most of us want to become anyway. Tenten, unlike most kids, admired that he had high goals. She also had high goals. I also have high goals. I wish to become the strongest Kunoichi and become a master of all weapons and cleave mountains in two with just a swipe of my blade. What's a mountain? A giant rock with a pointy tip. She gave an intelligent answer to the intelligent question. But anyways, don't let those cowards get inside your head. They are just mad you have something you want to be, well they don't. They are the real losers. Naruto felt touched by her words as they resonated with him. He'd cherish each and every word she said to him. For life, he'd always remember those words. Say, want to be friends? Why not? Tenten said, smiling. Hokage-sama. She gained a grin as she teased him. Very funny, little mouse. And since that day, Tenten and Naruto couldn't be seen without each other. They were joined at the hip. They trained, played, pranked, ate, and sometimes slept with each other. During this time, Naruto was happy, truly happy. He gained a precious person in his life, but it was taken when she had been adopted. It was a sad day for Naruto. No matter how much she said they would hang out or meet up, it didn't cheer him up. It was a teary goodbye for both of them. It was that day which sparked a downfall in Naruto's personality. He started getting physical with the kids, leaving them injured and sometimes sending them to the hospital on very bad days. It was then that Hiruzen got him his own place to stay. Naruto and Tenten looked for each other, up and down. They never realized how big the village truly was until that moment. So Naruto started pulling pranks in order to draw Tenten out and maybe grab her attention. But it was all for nothing. As the two never ran into each other. Ten-chan. Naruto hugged the girl back as he satiated her shoulder with his tears. While his own jacket became damp from Tenten's tears. Where have you been? I looked all over the place for you. I should be saying that to you. I always went back to that piss of an orphanage to try and find you. I pulled pranks around the village for you to see if you would notice me. Naruto frowned as that plan didn't work at all. You weren't going to find me there since I moved out of that place. I have my own apartment now. He said. Tenten separated from the hug and smiled. You have your own place. At 16 I'll have to come over sometime. She smiled and hugged him again. You'll invite me, won't you? Yes. You can come over anytime you want. What's mine is yours. And to his shoulder, Tenten smiled. Just like back then. Of course. Naruto gave a grin. I've missed his smile so much. He's gotten so handsome. She broke the hug again and coughed into her hand. So, you are here for clothes, right, Whiskers? Haha, very funny. It is, that's why I'm laughing. She continued to giggle at his old nickname. Her laugh, it still makes me smile. I've missed the sound of it. Naruto gained a fond smile as his eyes radiated warmth at the sight of Tenten's laughter. She's even prettier than before. Okay, for real this time. You want some clothes, right? Tenten walked pulling Naruto along. As his eyes drifted to Tenten's rear end. She had grown indeed, and he was loving it. He's still a healthy guy after all. It seems you like sportswear, not really shinobi-like, but it's your style. Tenten sized Naruto up with her fingers poking out her tongue as she did so. Yup, you have no fashion sense. Hey. It's not that bad. Naruto defended himself with all the dignity he had. Whatever, Naruto-kun. You'll just never look as cool as me. She cocked a hand on her hip while smirking hotly at Naruto. Meh. Naruto shot her down. She glared and gave a pout. See if I give you any discounts today. Hey. I was just pulling your leg. No need to be rash. That's what I thought. So, about getting me some clothes. Naruto picked up where they left off. Yay, let me look and see what can fit you. What size are you? XL. How about all black? Is there orange in it? So Tenten flipped through the shelves placing Naruto in all kinds of outfits and making him wear what she thought would look best. From full jumpers to black robes and full sets of armor. Look at this one. I like it. Naruto picked up the top and bottoms and ran into the fitting room before Tenten could see. He quickly unzipped his orange jacket and took off the mesh armor underneath. And all but jumped from his pants. When the door curtain opened again, it showed Naruto wearing a black collared jacket. It had orange vertical stripes on the upper arms and wrist while it was open, revealing a plain black shirt underneath. It was more of a chill look compared to his hyper and all up in your face jacket. Slick black pants that stopped just above his ankles and black high top shinobi sandals. Naruto had his hands in his pocket and a relaxed smile on his face. So. Whatcha think? Was he always this hot? Tenten flushed and stuttered a response. Why, you look good. Before she coughed and got back under control. This was crazy and she needed to regain control. It looks much better. You look more like a shinobi now. Naruto gave a smile. Thanks, I'm glad the fashion queen thinks so much of my outfit. Flattery will get you nowhere, just like it never got you any of my snacks. Tenten reminded the boy who often tried to butter her up in hopes of getting an extra cookie. Aw, that's no fun, Ten-chan. Naruto grabbed his old clothes and tossed them in a white bag. So what else do I need? You need some protection underneath this. That mesh armor is a lifesaver, but not really up to snuff and isn't as reliable as the better stuff. Tenten tapped Naruto in the gut a few times. She noticed there was a lack of muscle and more of a slim frame. Say Naruto, you're actually pretty small now that I look at you. For a 16-year-old teen, you should be taller and bigger. Have you been eating right? Ramen and spoiled milk. He gave a smile. No wonder, you're not going to grow if that's all you eat. Tenten berated her best friend with narrowed eyes. You need a well-balanced diet, I recommend you bulk up. Lots of protein. Ah. You sound like Kakashi-sensei. And what the hell is protein? Naruto rolled his eyes and sighed. Kakashi is your sensei. And how do you not know what protein is? She yelled in angered shock. Yes, Kakashi is my sensei. Who is yours? Light guy. Tenten shuddered, hearing a faint sound of youth from outside. But protein is a large group of molecules that support cell structure, hormone synthesis, and muscle growth. Naruto just blinked and stared like a lost child. Keep going, I don't understand a thing you're saying. Tenten gave an aggravated sigh. Lots of protein makes you healthy and big. She slowed it down like she was speaking with a small child. Understand. I'm not an idiot. Jerk. Naruto scowled. But didn't mean hostile feelings towards her. I know, just a little slow. She said innocently. Naruto opened his mouth to argue but relented at the end. Yeah, just a little. Now Tenten felt bad. No, I'm sorry Naruto-kun. It's fine, I've always been a little slow to learn, but now I'm working on it and trying to change. Change? Tenten missed a large part of his life, so she had no idea who Naruto was after the orphanage. Yeah, I just got back from my first C rank that turned into an A rank. It opened my eyes to what the world is truly like. I don't want to stay how I am now, I want to change and be better. At his statement, Tenten smiled proudly at the blonde. He has changed and is showing signs of maturity. It was good he saw his flaws and wanted to do something about them. That's good, I'm proud. You should always want to do better. She was honest and it bled through to her words. Thanks, Ten-chan. Anytime Naruto-kun. Tenten turned before she became trapped in the endless pool which was his eyes. Now let's get you some proper gear and armor. Great, I've got some training to do. Naruto said and followed Tenten to the counter. On a rack were many sheets of armor that shinobi wore under their clothing. Now, I'm going to give you this carbon fiber armor for free as a reunion present. Thank me later. Tenten grabbed it off the rack and placed it on the counter. It's high quality and very resilient to blunt force attacks or kunai and shuriken. It's underrated and should really be worn more. The armor was a slick black that looked more like another shirt than an actual piece of armor you'd imagine. Naruto picked up the lightweight material and gave it a couple of tosses. Light like a feather. But won't you get in trouble for this later? Tenten waved him off. I count the cash later anyways, plus, this is a family business. My parents will understand once I tell them. If you say so. Naruto folded the flexible material up and placed it in his bag. Now here is your kunai kit, ninja wire, shuriken, ceiling tags, paper bombs, smoke bombs, and first aid kit. As Tenten kept talking, Naruto's jaw fell further and further. After the purchase, Naruto's money had grown legs and jumped into the register. It would be a long time before he could fill up Gama-chan again. Okay, Ten-chan. It was nice to finally see you after so long. We have to catch up sometime. Naruto stopped at the door as Tenten walked him out. Of course. We can train just like we used to. Tenten said with an eager smile on her delicate face. I'm free tomorrow if you want to train, I can wow you with my skills. Naruto said with a confident smirk on his face. Aha, we're gonna have to spar since you keep bragging about how skilled you are. Tenten said with a testing smirk. Just don't be upset when I leave you in the dirt. We'll see, when I win, you have to buy me ramen. Naruto offered his hand. Bet. And when I win, you've got to train with my sensei. Naruto didn't like the smile Tenten had. It gave off bad vibes, and he would most likely regret it. See you around, Ten-chan. Naruto hugged her tight and gained a content smile on his face as he felt her softer arms close around his back. Okay, come and pick me up tomorrow. She left his hug smiling softly. She watched him leave with a slightly frightful feeling. What if she didn't see him again? The last time she saw Naruto he was a small boy, only 5 years old. Now he was 16 and a ninja for the village. She'd have to ask for his apartment so if need be, she could just come and see him whenever she wanted. Yup, I'll do that. I'll make sure not to lose him again. Lose who again? Nothing. I was just thinking out loud. Her dad said coming from the forge. He was tall and lean with scars along his arms. He was a gruff-looking man with short brown hair and calm red eyes. His apron was covered with burn marks and black dust. Tenten's father, Itachi Higurashi, was a retired shinobi who fell in love with crafting weapons. Say, do you know what mom's making for dinner? He asked his adopted daughter. I think she said beef tacos. That's my favorite. He got a smile and his taste buds watered. I wanted mac and cheese. Tenten went back into the store with a cute pout of defiance. Due to raising the girl, Itachi had grown immune to the look. Nope, don't even. He waved his finger at her. I don't want to see that look. He was a calm-headed individual with years of training that wouldn't allow him to fall victim to his daughter's look. Dang it. It would have worked on mom. Itachi slightly chuckled. He then noticed that one of the carbon fiber armor sets was missing. So did you finally sell one? Not sell, I gave it away. Tenten frightfully said and recoiled under her father's stare. Why would you do that? It better be a good reason. He crossed his arms and looked sternly at Tenten. I gave it to Naruto-kun, the boy from the orphanage I told you and mom about. Remember, I told you I was looking for him all the time. Itachi knew who she was talking about. Naruto, I saw him prank the Hokage about 2 weeks ago. He painted the Hokage monument. What? No distractions, so you gave this high-quality armor away to your little boyfriend. Dad, stop. It wasn't like that. She and Naruto were just really close friends. Okay, since you really care about him. I'll let it slide this time. I know how much he means to you. Itachi wished to meet the kid. He didn't know too much about him other than he was the holder of the 9 tails. Villagers always talked badly about the boy, but Itachi had an understanding of sealing, so he knew Naruto was just holding the beast inside of him. Plus, Naruto seemed to have a deep bond with his daughter. So he automatically had to meet the boy for that reason alone. Thanks, Dad, I won't do it again. Naruto wanted to get some training in, but he ended up staying with Tenten for longer than intended. But, it was okay. Worth it in his opinion. He'd just get some training the next day. Naruto lay in bed looking up at the ceiling. I'm going to do better, be better. Grow strong to protect those precious to me. Naruto held his fist up and clenched it with resolve in his eyes. For Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, and Tenten. To gain strength to protect you all. Naruto wasn't doing all of this for their sake. But a large part of it was. He was taking Haku's words to heart. However, you can't protect anyone without power. So that is what he needed above all. Power. Naruto was out in the training ground bright and early. The big yellow sun had just risen into the sky, painting the world blue and vast. He was dressed in his new outfit and he had to say, the outfit was growing on him. He had already warmed up and was now thinking about what he would do next. Kakashi-sensei says I should work on my chakra control. So I will start with that. And there was the problem. Then Naruto remembered they used to stick leaves on their foreheads and spin them in their palms. So, he went to one of the many trees and sent chakra to the soles of his feet to walk along it. He grabbed a handful of leaves and jumped back to the ground. Taking off his headband, Naruto stuck one of the leaves on his forehead and channeled chakra to the center of his brow. As soon as the leaf touched his forehead, it was blasted off and destroyed into tiny little specks of green that floated in the wind. Welp, this is going to be harder than I thought. Before he could continue his training again, Naruto remembered he told Tenten that they would train. I better get her before she complains my ears off. Naruto crossed his fingers and summoned one shadow clone. Go and get Tencha. Roger, boss. The clone grinned before running off to accomplish its task. In the Hokage's office, all the Jounin senseis were gathered. Hiruzen looked as they all lined up and awaited for him to talk. Okay, you all know the Chunnin exams were about to begin in a couple of days. They all nodded to his statement. Well, it's getting pushed back by 2 weeks. But Tsuchikage has decided he wants to join in on the action, along with the Raikage. Even for the well-trained Jounin, they showed signs of shock. For 2 of the Leaf's main enemies to join was cause for shock and a little trepidation. Are we sure that's a good idea? You know what the Raikage attempted last time he sent one of his ninjas into the village. Kurenai spoke under restrained anger. She was the sensei of Hinata Hyuga. So she was obviously close to her student. I am well aware of that, but the Raikage has formally apologized and given his word that he won't attempt anything like that again. Hiruzen rescinded calmly to the scowling sensei. Now does that mean I trust him? No. He will be surveyed heavily and watched around the clock. They all felt better at getting reassured that the man would be watched like a hawk. But that didn't get rid of the other cage. And what about the Tsuchikage? Kakashi asked this time. For once not reading his book and looking focused. There isn't too much to worry about with him. He's just a grumpy old man who doesn't know when to give the hat up. Hiruzen slightly laughed while the Jounin sweat dropped. That sounded a little like their cage. Now I know our nations were just at war not long ago. But time has passed and it's all been left in the past. He is well aware of what this means for our villages. This is a step towards peace. Hiruzen felt strongly about his words. Out of all the cage, he and Inoki had the most history with each other. Both had been around longer than needed and had seen the world bathed in blood. Now it was time to rinse off all that blood. Hiruzen would not hold his breath. Inoki was a stubborn mule, so he doubted they could just start talking about peace after one little visit. Even if it was the Chunnin exams. So you all have an extra 2 weeks to train your genin. I expect them to be up to standards and put on a show for the other nations. We'll be hosting 3 of the great nations. And make sure to be on your best behavior. This is going to be one hell of an exam. Asuma lit a cigarette only to be glared at by Kurenai. And he glared back, he was smoking this one to the bone. He'd make it up to her later anyways. But it will be my son. Hiruzen let a slight smile across his face. Now that is all, enjoy the rest of your day. Tenten waited on the roof of her shop dangling her feet as she did so. Like this, she could get a good view of Naruto before he could see her. But she had been waiting for at least 30 minutes now. It wasn't that big of a bother as she spun a kunai on every one of her fingers while whistling a tune. That is when she saw a tuft of spiky blonde hair moving along the street. He looked good in his new outfit, he looked good. Tenten could honestly say Naruto had grown very handsome. Round cheeks, deep hypnotizing pools of blue eyes, and that smile that lit up a room. She shook her head and got under control. Up here, Naruto-kun. Naruto looked up and used his hand to block the sun that shone in his eyes. Can you come down, I can't see you because of the sun. Tenten flipped off the roof and landed gracefully on her feet. Acrobatic. My team is composed of Taijutsu specialists, so it's only natural that I myself pick up on their teachings. She explained, placing the kunai back in her pouch. So. Where are we training? I'm on the east side of the village, training ground velvet. I've never been to that one, is it nice? It's what you can expect from a training ground. Trees, grass, lake, and a big open area. Nothing to write home about then. She laughed at the end. Nah, wouldn't even write about it. Naruto laughed with her as they walked to the field. Until Tenten noticed what Naruto said. Would you say it like that? Like what? You said I'm like, this isn't you. She poked a finger in his cheek, making sure this was a real person next to her. Naruto looked confused before gaining an understanding look. That's because this is a shadow clone of mine. The blonde gave the brunette a grin. Shadow clone? What's that? Tenten had never heard of the jutsu. But from the name, she knew it to be some cloning jutsu. It makes real copies that I can freely manipulate. They take a portion of my chakra and I can split it evenly or make it random. Naruto for once gave a detailed answer while not leaving much to question. A real clone. Once more, she started to poke Naruto in the side. So this is a shadow clone, huh? Yup. Grinning, Naruto had more to say. I can also recall the memories and experiences of each clone. I just learned about that yesterday. I'm jealous, can you teach it to me? She asked with hope in her eyes. Not a chance. This jutsu takes a lot of chakra. And you don't look like you have a lot of chakra. And what's that supposed to mean? There was a clear warning in her question. It means you don't have enough chakra for it. Naruto said back, uncaring for the warning look she gave him. Is it because I'm a girl? Tenten had stopped walking and looked at Naruto with hints of anger. She was sick of being underestimated because of her gender. Naruto stopped to look at her. Really? Do I look like the type to judge gender? To that, Tenten turned her head, not answering. It's a jutsu that takes a large amount of chakra. Even Kakashi-sensei can't make more than me. I'm only saying this to keep you safe. Now she felt bad. Here she was, jumping to conclusions. Sorry, Naruto-kun. It's fine, I knew you were going to react like that. Naruto turned to keep walking. Which Tenten fell into step next to him as they entered a forest region. How did you know that? Because I know you, Ten-chan. Even when we were kids. You were always strong-willed, keeping a headstrong when everyone else underestimated you. It's something I admire about you. Naruto honestly said, missing the blush that spread on Tenten's cheeks. That's what I admired about you. She also spoke from the heart, not hiding anything. Well, we're just the perfect match, aren't we? He said with a joking grin. The bun-haired girl laughed, bumping his shoulder. We are, aren't we? They fell into silence as they moved through the forest, just basking in the calming walk. Soon, Tenten could hear the sound of frustrated shouts and looked at Naruto, who grinned nervously back. Humming through the last set of trees, Tenten saw the field covered in Naruto clones who all sat around trying to stick leaves to their foreheads. Damn, this is crazy. And they are all your clones. Each and every one. The clone said, before going up in smoke and returning the memories to the original Naruto. Yo. Tenten saw Naruto hanging upside down by his feet above her. Shocked into awe at the awesomeness of my jutsu. I've got to say, I am impressed, Naruto. She smiled up at the blonde. Naruto fell down to the ground next to the girl. So what do you want to train in? Before she could answer. A clone shot up and shouted its accomplishment. I did it. I finally got it to stick. The clone went up into smoke seconds later. Then all the clones shouted for joy as they high-fived each other. Narhaha. Tenten hunched over and started to laugh. What's so funny? Tenten looked up to speak but dropped to her knees and started laughing again. You haha. Stick a leaf. Her laughter continued as she couldn't even speak. Naruto rolled his eyes as the girl mocked him. He now knew what was so funny. Yes, I just learned how to stick a leaf to my forehead. Oh my god, my stomach hurts. You're a genin and just learned this. What have you been doing? She wiped a tear from her eye and got back to her feet. Naruto's face fell and his mood shifted quickly. I haven't been the best ninja, I've been joking around this whole time. It wasn't until my recent mission that I got a taste of what the world was really like. It's filled with monsters, vermin, and those suffering under them. Tenten listened and gave Naruto her full attention. That's true. It's not right, but that's how the world is. But it shouldn't have to be. Naruto quickly said, raising his voice a bit. A world where kids don't know their parents, families torn apart by ruthless people that only care about filling their pockets. It's sick. Naruto-kun. Tenten softly muttered his name. He turned his blue eyes at her and she could see his pupil had become a slit for some reason. Just what happened on that mission? She wondered. I'll change it all. I won't allow a world like that to exist any longer. Me, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto proudly stated, thumbing his chest as his eyes returned to normal and filled with passion. I'll create a peaceful world. I'll do it for sure. That's a big goal. Tenten remarked. Are you sure you can handle it? Are you kidding? Of course I will. Just watch me. Tenten smiled. He had really changed and grown up. It was amazing, truly. She now felt invigorated to do more. What happened on that mission of your Naruto? What caused this big change? A story for some other time. Now, it was time to train. I'll tell you later, let's train for now as the time is ticking. Tenten smirked. Down for that spar. If you want to lose so badly, be my guest. Tenten pulled out a scroll and aimed it towards Naruto. Unseal. A stream of fire rushed from the sealing paper toward a surprised Naruto. He had to quickly jump out of the way or be burned to a crisp. He made his clones pop so he could get the knowledge on how to better control his chakra. Now with that done, Naruto could fight better and more efficiently with his chakra. It wasn't like he had any jutsu or anything, which was a flaw he was becoming aware of. It would just allow him to have a better hold on his restless chakra. So Naruto used the shadow clone jutsu again. 5 came into view as they pulled out kunai and threw a volley of them towards Tenten, who smirked. Exploding dragon strike. A seal unwrapped itself from around Tenten and rushed from the ink. A dragon head of fire roared towards Naruto. It rushed right through the kunai, sending them off target. It connected with Naruto, blowing up in a great explosion. Was that too much? Tenten saw the smoky body of Naruto fall to the ground. She moved closer, still on guard. That is when the body puffed into smoke, blinding Tenten for the moment. When the smoke cleared, she was wrapped up in ninja wire and pushed to the ground. Quick and easy. Naruto rubbed under his nose with a grin. Tenten fell around and her hands were still free. She rolled her eyes. His lack of experience was showing. You're cocky, but you haven't earned it. You're still a rookie. I've been a genin for a year now, you have to do better. She used hand signs and summoned a tanto to her hands. With a flick of her wrist, Tenten cut the wire and quickly cut down the clones. She's free. Get her. A clone shouted and just rushed in, only to be stabbed. Followed by another clone and another clone. As this proceeded over and over again, Naruto looked on from the trees with worry. She's destroying them so effortlessly. I can't hit her. Naruto watched as Tenten jumped in the air. She pulled out 2 small scrolls. Double dragon strike. The 2 heads of fire rushed down and exploded on his army of clones. Now she was looking for him, tanto in her hand, until she clicked it back into the sheath on her waist. She's equipped for war, where are these weapons coming from? Won't come out, I'll force you out. Tenten began to spin like a tornado as many sharp objects were thrown from her, including kunai, shuriken, swords, tantos, and knives. Think, think, think. Got it, she uses long-range weapons, so she has to be weak at jutsu. Naruto rushed to Tenten with all his speed, which wasn't much. Tenten reacted quickly and took on a stance with her palms flat and out. High accurate Sakyaku. In a flash, Tenten struck Naruto with rapid kicks at him. Each kick landed with pinpoint accuracy, as if she had a lock-on to his body. She's crazy strong. Naruto said, falling back. Only to snap back into focus. He went back into combat, exchanging blows with the girl, trying to brute force his way through her defense. Naruto didn't fight alone though, he used his shadow clones. He'd punch and kick. Once he was done, he let the other shadow clone go, while the clone summoned more clones until Tenten had to keep fighting off an army that only got bigger. Naruto sent a row of clones into Tenten, who now used a great sword to take big swings and cleave them all in half. Is this all you can do? Naruto-kun, Tenten had to say. This was super annoying. Fighting nothing but clones and always seeing smoke made it hard to see. I've got some more. Naruto came flying through the smoke like an arrow being released from the quiver. This attack landed and his fist sunk into Tenten's gut, making her bend over on his fist as she gasped for air. And to close it out, more clones fell from the sky like falling drops of rain. It was a dog pile as they bombarded Tenten with attacks. Once it was over, Tenten had a bruised cheek while blood dripped from the side of her mouth. Wow, Naruto. You beat me. I don't know if I should be proud or angry. Naruto came over with a big smile. Told you I was gonna win, didn't I? Naruto rubbed the back of his head with a sheepish grin. Tenten swiped the blood from her lip and felt the bruise on her cheek. That is when she drew a katana out of nowhere and rested it underneath his chin. Or maybe not. Tenten smirked, feeling cocky at her victory. No. You said I won. Naruto shouted his complaints. Like the book say, we are shinobi, we lie, cheat, and kill. A ninja must see through deception. Tenten placed the sword on her back in a standard scabbard. Remember that, Naruto-kun. Yay, I get it. Naruto pocketed his hands. Though if we are being real, I beat you. So this is my victory. He gained a grin shortly after. If it helps you sleep at night. It just might. Naruto had a question for his friend. Ten-chan, what were those papers that released all those weapons and jutsu? Tenten moved her fingers and threads of chakra extended to all her lost weapons. It's called sealing jutsu. It can do a wide variety of things. Often used to hold things for later use. Like you saw, weapons or jutsu if you are really skilled like me. She sealed up all her weapons again and tucked them back into her pouch. To hold things. Naruto rested a hand on his stomach. Yeah, to hold things. Tenten looked at Naruto who was holding his stomach. Are you hungry or something? No, just thinking. You want me to teach you? Was it that obvious? It was all over your face. A giggle escaped her lips. Don't worry, it's fine, I don't mind. We're best friends after all. Naruto smiled warmly at Tenten. Yup, best of friends. Okay, let's get some more training in, the Chunnin exams are coming up and I want to be ready for them. Naruto nodded to that. Whatever it is. I'll be ready for it. So the two trained for hours on end. Naruto used more of his clones to practice his chakra control. This time, he would stick to a tree and put a leaf on his forehead. He and Tenten would spar and she lectured him on small details he should have known. How to throw a kunai properly even though he could nail his targets with ease. It was not good enough for the weapons expert though. Just for giggles, Tenten gave him a sword and she beat the crap out of him in Kenjutsu. To the point he didn't want to pick the sword up again. It was a real rage quit, causing Tenten to laugh. After that, she gave him a crash course in sealing which Naruto barely understood. But he was interested. For hours on end, they trained and trained. Until one of Tenten's teammates came together. It was a Hyuga from the clear white eyes making him look blind. Tenten, Guy-sensei is calling, he has important news for us. The brown-haired boy with fair skin said passively. He wore a beige-colored shirt with dark brown shorts. His right arm along with his right leg was covered in bandages. Tenten frowned. Do I have to? Yes. His answer was stoic and he narrowed his eyes. He says it's about the Chunnin exams. Fine. Tenten gave a defeated sigh. Sorry, Naruto-kun. I'll see you later. Don't worry about it. Naruto waved her off, feeling sad she had to leave so soon. Why do you want to stay with this loser anyway? What are you doing with him? Niji asked. Training. Why? It won't accomplish anything, you're still weak. His words were cold and reflected in his eyes that belittled her. Hey. Ten-chan is very strong. Stronger than you will ever be. Naruto was quick to come to her defense. What would you know about it anyway, with your girly brown hair? HMPH, commoner. Entertain yourself. He gave Naruto his back and turned. Why you? Naruto growled dangerously. No, let it go. Tenten came in front of Naruto and looked into his eyes. It's fine. I've gotten used to it. She looked away becoming sad. This served to make Naruto even more angry. You mean he talks to you like this all the time? That's not right. Naruto got ready for a fight and was about to summon his clones. Until Tenten grabbed his hands. No Naruto-kun, you can't beat him. He's the strongest member of my team. A genius from the Hyuga clan. You'll only get hurt trying to fight him. Tenten forced Naruto's hands down as she talked to Naruto. She wanted to stress the power Niji wielded to the blonde. I don't care if he is a genius. I'll crush him. Naruto narrowed his blue eyes towards the back of Niji, who turned to meet the heated eyes of Naruto. No, you can't beat him as you are. We'll train some more tomorrow, yeah. Tenten made Naruto look at her by grabbing his face. Fine. But he better watch how he talks to you. Naruto finally relented and calmed down. He had to work on his temper and think before acting. As if Niji was halted from saying more as Tenten glared at him with a fury he'd never seen in her eyes. Whatever, you know the way back. Niji flashed away once he was done. See you tomorrow. And thanks for trying to stick up for me. No problem, but you can't let that guy talk down to you like that. Naruto looked at Tenten angrily. She was so cool about this. Tenten ducked her head away. I try, but he's right. I can't defeat him. He's stronger than me. Then we will both get stronger. Naruto clutched her hand in his. To defeat both the genius on our teams. Tenten smiled. She was doing that a lot around Naruto. Deal. They separated and she waved before leaping into the trees. Team 7 had assembled for a meeting in their training ground. As always, Kakashi was running late. But instead of standing around, Naruto was training in his taijutsu against a clone. They weren't hitting each other, simply shadow boxing. What's he doing? He's not hitting anything. Sakura was confused and asked Sasuke next to her. Training. He's just getting down his footing. Sasuke grunted out an answer. Do you train like that, Sasuke-kun? No. And what's with the outfit change? Sakura observed the new look. I like it, oddly enough. Tell him, not me. Sasuke said. But the Uchiha could also see that Naruto looked to be in a bad mood about something. He wondered what could make Naruto of all people so angry. Yo. Their sensei flashed into view with a lazy wave. You're late. Normally, Naruto and Sakura would do a joint shout. But it was only Sakura as Naruto was still training. Looks like someone used the funds well. Kakashi noted while dropping from the tree. Gather around you three. Naruto finally stopped training and walked over to his sensei. Sasuke and Sakura joined him as they waited for Kakashi to speak again. Do you want the good news or bad news first? Good news, sensei. Okay, I've signed you all up for the Chunnin exams. Sakura beamed. You mean where we can get promoted to Chunnin? Someone has done their research. Kakashi noted the smart girl on the team. And the bad news is, they have been pushed back by 2 weeks. Naruto finally spoke up for the first time. Good news, we have 2 extra weeks to train. Giving an eye smile, Kakashi answered. That's one way to look at things. So we are going to train non-stop for the next 2 weeks. Sasuke declared, looking sternly at their sensei. Wave had served to wake him up as well. The boy thought he was plenty strong already. However, that was far from the truth. He had all but died during that mission to someone weaker than Itachi. If that's what my little genin want, great, because I need your help, sensei. I want you to teach me how to shoot a fireball like Sasuke, Naruto said. During his fight with Tenten, he noticed he had no jutsu to deal with her and could only use his clones to dogpile the girl. It's not that easy, Naruto. I have a fire affinity. Sasuke looked cocky at Naruto. And what's that supposed to mean? Naruto glared at the boy. It means, you can't do one. Do you even know what affinity you have? Sasuke crossed his arms as he looked at Naruto curiously. But he already knew the answer. I don't know. Naruto shouted with anger as his face turned red. Hearing the mocking chuckle of Sasuke, Naruto then got in his face. I don't need it to beat you anyway. Yeah, right. Before they could get out of hand, Kakashi intervened. Naruto, Sasuke's words have a little bit of truth to them. You need to know what affinity you have before just attempting a jutsu. Kakashi then turned to lecture Sasuke. And you don't need to talk down on him like that, why not answer his question? Because he's a loser. The Uchiha was bopped on the head. Knock it off, will you? You're a team, help each other. Kakashi turned to Naruto. We will train for the next 2 weeks and get you all ready, these exams are going to be the biggest we've had in a while. And I want you all ready. And like that, Team 7 began training for the Chunnin exams in 2 weeks. Walking down a long dark hallway with menacing steps was a tall man with long red hair that spiked down his back in smooth ease. They were covered in a dark black cloak with red fur on the collar. In his hand was a long single-tip spear that had black seal marking running from top to bottom. Its golden body covered in black ink painted a lavish picture for it. He came upon a door and walked in without asking for permission. In the room, he saw a white-skinned man standing over a dead body as he played with their insides. So, you answered my calls. I'm glad. They turned and looked at him through strands of black hair. So you want to team up? The man looked at the person in front of him. His dangerous red eyes portrayed hints of disgust, whether it was for himself or the man who was now going to work with was undecided. I am doing this because it will be better for me. You will take all the backlash while I remain unknown. His voice carried superiority and confidence. This person was strong, so strong that Orochimaru was on guard the whole time. Using me? For shame. Orochimaru hissed. But you are not as hidden as you might think, I managed to get a hold of you after all. Orochimaru gained a smirk and his golden eyes shone with mirth. You are no normal shinobi, a freak is what you are. The spear in the red-haired man's hand touched the ground and a sealing formula quickly spread around the room too fast to react. It began to glow bright showing the sound for Orochimaru's personal guard in each corner, already transformed into stage 2 of their curse mark. They were frozen in place, along with Orochimaru. Their chakra also got drained into the seal and flowed into the spear, leaving the man's guards in their normal appearance. The vile and evil chakra then entered the man's body, causing his veins to glow slightly as his eyes took on a more fiery red. The multi-purpose seal, that's rare. It froze us, lit up the room, and took our chakra. And he made it with just his spear alone. Orochimaru gained a nervous grin at the man's display of power and skill. He would be a great ally or terrible enemy. I crafted these seals for your little plan. Make sure that old man loses everything. He tossed some sealing tags on the table. Well, the area lost its light again. Just like I have. The person was gone in a shudder of movement, leaving no trace of his presence. At Uzumaki, he is more trouble than I thought. Orochimaru stopped his racing heart and took a breath. I'll have to think of a way to stop him, somehow. Enjoy. Come on you two. Pick up the pace. A big and loud huff was what Kakashi received for his response. He also received a more quiet pant as well. Kakashi took a sip of ice-cold water from his cup, gulping loudly to irritate his 2 students. Man, does this taste good. Kakashi blew out a cold breath. Sensei, please see, Gim. Sure. Kakashi splashed the girl in the face with water. Last place doesn't get water. Only a pat on the back. So, Kakashi patted the girl on the back as he jogged to catch up to Sasuke. Behind him, Sakura collapsed onto her stomach completely drained of energy. Sasuke-kun, would you like some water? Kakashi shook a bottle in his face. Sasuke had hoped for this, so he used his energy to quickly reach out for the bottle. only for it to disappear from his view. Then more miles, and I'll give you some water. Kakashi almost laughed as he saw Sasuke's head drop. Don't live off simple hope. Hoping maybe this time it might work. Hoping that this jutsu might work, hoping this time I'll be good enough. That's not how the world works. You know that. Kakashi sternly lectured the Uchiha, keeping pace with him the whole time. You need to take advantage of what you have and how you can apply it to work in your favor. Look at Naruto, you'll learn something from him. And with his piece said, Kakashi took off to catch up to the speeding blonde ahead of everyone. It actually took a while. Team 7 was taking laps around the Leaf Village for some good all conditioning. Their goal was to run 20 miles and then add a little extra just because. Stamina was something his other two students lacked, so running until your legs felt like jelly was a good way to improve. It's been 2 weeks and their team has been training non-stop like maniacs. In 2 days, the Chunnin exams will begin. And they had a lot of work to do. Kakashi made sure he was always around to train them. Sakura now ate chicken every night, even if he had to force it down. More like each member of the team went on this diet as they were all pretty small. Except for Sasuke, which was a surprise. The boy was naturally lean, which paid off for his good looks. But in a fight, it might serve to be a disadvantage when chakra is not available. Case in point, when Naruto was testing the durability of Sasuke's chin with his fist. I wonder how Naruto is. I haven't seen him in a while. Naruto Uzumaki, the knucklehead of their team. The blonde had really changed. He showed rapid growth in every category of being a shinobi. Naruto could now hold semi-intellectual conversations with Sakura without spacing out. And actually think before acting in his fights with Sasuke. The blonde hadn't had a complete flip in personality, but there was a huge difference between Naruto from when he first started to him now. Tenten seems to be quite the teacher. She really made Naruto into something I didn't think was possible. Who would have thought she could take such a small detail and really cause it to be life-changing? Not to mention the training she put the blonde through. It was essentially guys training boot camp on a lesser scale. Naruto for some reason took to the training like a bird to the sky. A simple jump and his progress began to soar. He was making guys training look like a cup of ramen, which led Kakashi to what he was seeing now. Kakashi saw a small sweaty figure running at a quick pace, making it look easy. When did he take his shirt off? Looking at Naruto's raw back was not something he was expecting to see. In just 2 weeks, Naruto had started shaping up and gaining defined muscle in the right places. His shoulders spread out further and his back more detailed. On Naruto's shoulder was a big log. Not a small one either, one that could make your knees buckle under the weight. But not Naruto. He was carrying that boat as if it was a feather. They don't know me, son. They don't know me, son. Who's he talking to? Could it be the fox? Catching up to the blonde, Kakashi smiled. Naruto, where did you get this log from? That's a lot of weight, it might be too much. Naruto turned and looked affronted towards Kakashi. This weight means nothing. If anything, it's too light. And as for your question. Naruto turned and gained a determined expression while looking forward. I was born with it. This weight that is. Perhaps, this was not a simple log. Maybe it meant more than just that. But it was clear Naruto wasn't talking about the log anymore. The weight referred to the responsibility of the 9 tails, the hatred of the villagers and the world. Hoping for some water. I don't live off that hope shit. I ain't thirsty anyways. Naruto brushed his sensei off again and kept running. Yelling, they don't know me, son. The whole way in the middle of the village. Kakashi chuckled to himself. What a shinobi he's becoming. I've got to carry this weight, who else but me? I'm the only one who can. I can do it. I've been doing it. Naruto's positive thought served to fuel him even more. As he didn't quit and simply kept moving forward. The power is all mine. As he ran, memories of when kids picked on him for training. They mocked his efforts and called him a failure, loser, and a nobody who would ever amount to anything. Nobody wanted to see him become strong or achieve his dream. Except for one girl. She had always cheered him on. Edging him to keep going. Carrying him when he couldn't move himself. Tenten had always seen it fit to push him. Or hype him up when everyone else wanted him to kneel. So for her and himself, he'd prove them all wrong. Even now, he could hear the whispers of the villagers. There he is again. That boy is such a nuisance. He's out here screaming again. I wish he'd just disappear. He's a demon. So it was for that reason. He was screaming his chant. None of these weak-minded fools knew who Naruto Uzumaki was. Seeing their anger, he smiled and kept running towards his dream. Puts a grin on my face. He opened his mouth and laughed, vocally mocking them all. They don't fucking know me. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, bitches. Kakashi now understood. Naruto was speaking to himself and the villagers. Their hate fueled him, motivated him to prove them wrong. Sensei, your son. It's incredible. Kakashi clenched his fist as he felt motivated by Naruto. Perhaps I should get back into training as well. I can't let something like Wave happen all over again. As Naruto ran along the path, he saw a girl lying on the ground. "Sakura, why are you sleeping?" Naruto dropped the log in the middle of the road and poked his teammate's body. The girl only grunted as she didn't take any action against Naruto. So, he did what he thought was right. Naruto picked the girl up and placed her over his shoulder like a sack. "I'll carry your weight as well." He began to run again until catching Sasuke, who was barely moving his legs. "Come on, duck butt. My grandma runs faster than you. And I don't even know her." Sasuke grit his teeth at the mockery before springing ahead of Naruto. He then tossed a smirk to the blonde, who gave a grin. During all this, it served to wake up Sakura as she slowly blinked her eyes. She felt the hot body of Naruto carrying her like she was some box. She quickly got angry and hit him on the head, hurting herself instead. "Oh, Sakura. You're up." Over the 2 weeks, Naruto began to see Sakura less and less romantically. Not that she had grown ugly, as she was super cute and nice. It just faded away until it became nothing but a gust in the wind. "Naruto, you idiot. Why are you carrying me half naked?" "Because you fell on your ass. I wasn't just going to leave you behind." Naruto shouted back, glaring at the pinkhead. When Sakura used to scream and yell at him, Naruto normally deserved it and just let it happen. He thought that if he raised his voice back, she would get even more angry at him and ruin his chance of dating the girl. From the beginning, there was never any chance of Naruto gaining the affection of Sakura. Not when Sasuke was around to sweep the girl off her feet. And when Naruto realized it, he laughed. Sasuke had it all. The fame, attention, and respect of everyone. He even had the heart of the girl he used to love. And he brushed it all off. There was a point where Naruto would have done anything to get what Sasuke had. But he came to realize it all meant nothing if you weren't happy with yourself. "Then you should have left me there until my Sasuke-kun picked me up." As if his scrawny shoulders could hold you up. "You ought to be lucky I'm such a nice guy and picked you up in the first place. Naruto. When I get my energy back." The slap sounded and Naruto spanked Sakura on her plump butt. She was so shocked, all she could do was blush and hold her mouth open in shock. And then Naruto. Her face was burning red in anger and embarrassment, as Naruto had been the first boy to touch her backside. Which was supposed to be Sasuke. Acting quickly, Naruto threw Sakura on Sasuke's back and laughed as he ran past. "Naruto. I'm gonna kill you. You hear me? I'll rip off your arm and beat you with it." Sakura rustled in Sasuke's arm as she cursed the laughing blonde. Until Sasuke let her go and watched as Naruto had to run quicker or be beaten to death by Sakura. Sasuke ran to catch up, trying and failing to hide his smile. Back in the training ground, the students of Kakashi were on the ground resting. Sakura had fallen onto the back of Sasuke, who was too tired to push her off, even though he wouldn't in the first place. Naruto lay on his back looking at the clouds. "Okay, break time's over." Kakashi closed his book and walked over to the resting genin. "This is the last day of training, so we gotta make it count. You've all been doing well so far. Let's not slow down our steps now." "You mean it, sensei? We've grown stronger?" Sakura asked, raising up with a hopeful smile. For her question, she got an eye smile. "Yes. You've made the most progress, Sakura. Because to be frank, you were the weakest member on the team and still are. But because of how weak you were, your progress reached the moon." Sakura didn't know whether to be happy or insulted. It was true she was the weakest on the team and often held the two boys back. But her sensei was right and she had shown tremendous progress. So she just gave a strained smile. "Sakura." Sasuke called, sitting up. "You have excellent chakra control, perhaps you should use your great intellect and study medical ninjutsu as well as genjutsu." To no one's surprise, Sakura gasped and turned beet red. "Sasuke-kun. You really think so?" She received a firm nod along with a smirk. She gave a warm smile with pure joy swimming in her emerald-colored eyes. "Thank you." Her smile caused the Uchiha to turn in the opposite direction or else start to feel strange. While looking away, he saw Naruto and Kakashi smirking devilishly at him. "I'm going to kill those two." "Sakura, Sasuke makes a good point. You've got some of the best chakra control. But you are lacking when it comes to fighting." Instead of blowing up at Naruto, Sakura held her tongue and listened to what Naruto had to say. "Ten-chan always talks about Tsunade Senju, so maybe you could be like her. Just better, of course." "Tsunade Senju? But she's a Sannin." Sakura knew all about the powerful women. There weren't many people who didn't know who that was. I hear she's the best medical ninja in the world and has super strength." "Thank you, Naruto, I'll look into it." Sakura was grateful for the help. Naruto had calmed down and when he wasn't hounding her for a date, he was good company, she discovered. They bickered like siblings and she found he always got on her nerves like one. She had begun to feel bad for how she treated Naruto, it wasn't right. Now as their team grew closer, she and Naruto naturally did. And they became extremely close friends. "Now. You and me, Sasuke. Today is the day I beat you. HMPH, in your dreams." Kakashi stepped in the middle of the two. Just a minute, I didn't tell you what we would be doing. The boys settled and listened. Naruto, you know the drill, create your shadow clones and go read books while the others do chakra control practice. Naruto created the army of blondes and they all filed off into their groups. And Sasuke, you and Naruto can fight, but after that we are going to work on speed training and advancing your control over the Sharingan. Kakashi then turned to look at Sakura. And we have got some chakra building exercises for you as well as more physical training. So you'll be with Sasuke. Sakura dropped her head at having to do more physical training. Yes, sensei. Now, you two make the seal of unison. The boys raised their fingers before locking them. Alright, now. Kakashi jumped off to give them some space. Fight. Hopping from the ground were two arms of Naruto's shadow clone. They reached for Sasuke's ankles, but he was quick to evade and leap into the air. To which Sasuke saw Naruto hurling more clones toward him. It wasn't impossible, but it was hard. Sasuke managed to dispel the clones with visible effort. Ever since Naruto had gathered a style of fighting, his taijutsu had taken to the stars. The clones put up a fight before being killed. Shadow clone jutsu. Sasuke heard the words echo from behind his back. Being slightly covered by the sun, Naruto could be seen with two other clones of himself. There was no grin on his face or any twitch of facial muscles that would serve to show he wasn't in control. It was quite scary to see Naruto being so quiet and not telegraphing his moves like he used to. Something he no doubt learned from Kakashi helps. Naruto's stream. The clones whose palms were covered in wind nature chakra which soon covered Naruto helped increase his velocity as he sped toward the Uchiha. Sasuke activated his Sharingan and attempted to predict Naruto's trajectory, but failed to do so as he felt Naruto connect a palm thrust to his gut, sending him crashing into the ground. Naruto landed beside Sasuke with a slight smirk. My wind-style training has progressed far, don't you think? Sasuke couldn't speak as the wind in his lungs had been knocked out, forcing him to cough. He glared at Naruto and used chakra to increase his speed. He went and did a sweeping kick towards Naruto's feet, to which Naruto predicted and moved backward. Sasuke planted his arm and used his leg for an upward kick to Naruto's head. To which Naruto caught the leg and Sasuke rolled underneath Naruto and came up from behind the blonde. Naruto grabbed Sasuke's arms and used his superior strength to force his arms open and moved into a spin kick. Sasuke put up his guard and was sent skidding on the ground. He got up and saw Naruto in a stance that was becoming familiar to him. His right foot was extended and he had his hands out ready to lay quick and powerful strikes onto him. Even using my Sharingan, I find it hard to copy his moves. He's so fast and strong. Not to mention his clones ganging up on me. Sasuke got to his feet and wiped the blood coming from his mouth. About time you made this interesting for me, I was sick of beating your skull in. You look tired, can't keep up. Sasuke did not answer the jab and instead rushed forward to face Naruto and taijutsu. Their fist connected, shaking the bones in their bodies. Sasuke was gaining on Naruto as he landed punches, kicks, and the occasional elbow. Naruto began to use his shadow clones to help even things out as they didn't let Sasuke breathe as his punches landed more and more. He batted away Sasuke's next attacks and sent two quick punches to his chest with great force. Their pace picked up as chakra began to enhance their attack power as quickly as their skill was put on display. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. A clone threw Naruto out of the path of the jutsu and he created more to send him leg first into the blocking Uchiha. I'll show you another jutsu I created. It's just like your fireball in a way. Naruto punched Sasuke away and created some space. He didn't use hand signs as it wasn't needed. His chest puffed up before he blew out a giant blast of chakra that moved with the unstoppable force of a train. That looks like Kakashi felt alarmed as that looked like a tailed beast bomb performed by tailed beast. New sensei. Sasuke-kun can't be hit by that. Sakura looked worried and ready to jump into battle herself. It's fine, Naruto wouldn't throw something at Sasuke that might kill him, or maybe he would. He definitely would, and they both knew it. Sasuke was going to dodge until he felt his limbs stuck in place and being grabbed by a clone of Naruto. "You were distracted by the light show," a clone said cockily. "Damn," was all Sasuke said. A flash of light was what greeted the training ground as the jutsu went off in a large boom rocking the area around them. When all the smoke cleared, Sakura gasped in shock. She rushed to the damaged ground. "Well, Naruto, I've got to say." Kakashi shook off the numbness in his hands. Looking to see, his gloves were burned off and some of the skin on his hand had been ripped off. His hands had been burned and also shredded. That was a powerful jutsu. You might have taken the hands off a lesser man. Aside from a slightly burned vest and damaged hands, Kakashi was okay. It was made to be like that. Naruto said, walking up to inspect his handiwork. "How did you block that?" "I coated my hands in chakra, that's all." Kakashi smiled. "But I underestimated your jutsu." Sasuke looked a little shaken up as he was close to being hit with that jutsu. And to be honest, he wasn't sure if he could survive that jutsu. And the power he felt from it. Naruto, how strong have you gotten? Sensei. Do you need healing? Those cuts look pretty bad on your hand. Kakashi looked at his bleeding hands in amazement. It cuts like a wind style, burns like fire, and is potent beyond belief. What is this? Naruto, what kind of jutsu did you use? Sakura asked looking at Naruto who seemed to be taking everything in with stoic confidence. I created it during my training. It's just my chakra blasted from my mouth in the form of a ball. I call it Starfield. Kakashi looked impressed. Naruto was better at naming jutsu than his father, but he was more impressed by Naruto making the jutsu. How did you come up with this? Naruto smirked as he crossed his arms. Like I said, it comes from the fireball jutsu. Just no fire and all chakra. Pretty easy, anyone should be able to do it really. So can you teach it to me? Sakura asked giving Naruto the puppy eyes. Sure it would work as no one could say no when looking at her pool of emeralds. Just a minute. Kakashi interrupted. This jutsu won't be possible for just anyone or really anyone at all besides you. Kakashi had watched closely and felt firsthand what the jutsu had to offer. What do you mean? Sasuke asked coming up with a frown. Naruto has a lot of chakra first and foremost, the most in the village. He not only has the chakra needed for something like this, it's also incredibly potent. Kakashi lectured. And the most important fact being the hints of wind blades in just his natural chakra. Naruto and another are the only ones with wind chakra in the entire village. Do this, Naruto nodded. My chakra is special to me. He looked and gave a devious smile to Sasuke. And you can't have it. HMPH, as if I'd want a jutsu created by a loser. Lost. Sasuke kissed his teeth. You only caught me by surprise. Your excuses are not good enough, Sasuke-kun. Naruto mocked, knowing what buttons to press to anger Sasuke. Want to go again? Anytime, loser. Kakashi chopped both in the head, gaining their attention. Spar's over, to your post for training. So for now, the beef the two boys had would be put on hiatus until further notice. Their last day of training before the big exams carried on with Naruto and his army of clones, practicing their chakra control, taijutsu, studying, and advancing their wind nature. Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi did speed drills. The two had to practice evasion training towards the end to cool off. Which was Kakashi throwing kunai and shuriken at them until they dropped or were cut 3 times. Naruto yawned as he walked through the village. He was going to go and get something to eat as he was left starving from his recent training. Obviously, Naruto was taking the path that led to the ramen stand he could always be found at. Spinning on his fingertips were 5 leaves that seemed to be dancing to the tune of his chakra. Even as his hand drifted through the air, the leaves stuck to his hand. Deciding to have a little fun, Naruto called the wind to his hands and blew the leaves in a small tornado of wind. I'd say my chakra control has come far compared to what it used to be. His once horrible chakra control was now good enough for him to control 5 leaves at the same time. Which meant he was beginning to save chakra. Having the shadow clone jutsu was a blessing. He really had to thank whoever created this jutsu. He began to put the knowledge transfer to good use as he was becoming a master at many things. Even now, his clones were reading at his house. One of those topics was sealing to his surprise. Once Tenten introduced it to him, there was an unseen tether that pulled him along. It was a surprise as he took to it like a fish to water. It even impressed Tenten to the point where she began to teach him things. It brought a smile to his face as he loved spending time with Tenten. But he couldn't help feeling nervous around her sometimes. Or that she stayed on his mind all the time, constantly plaguing his thoughts on a daily. I wonder what she's doing. I'll go and see her once I've eaten. Even now, Tenten centered his thought process. Could it be? Was he falling for Tenten? It had only been 2 weeks. No way he had fallen for the girl that quickly. But there was always a chance. He found her beauty enchanting, not being able to tear his blue eyes away from her own garden of brown. Damn, she was too cute for her own good. Not to mention, she had a big ass and large thighs that always looked so inviting. Damn it. Why is she making me feel like this? I'm gonna get hard if I keep thinking about her ass. Due to this, Naruto lost concentration and the leaves fell off his fingers to the ground. Or at least would have until an updraft of wind blew the leaves back into his hand while also ruffling his hair a bit. Naruto wasn't surprised by the person, he was more surprised by the powerful wind style. I think you dropped something. A flirty and confident voice came to his ears. He looked up and saw a girl leaning on a fan in a tree smirking at him. She wore attractive clothing, it made her look noble and stunning if Naruto was being honest. She was so gorgeous that it could have made a lesser man blush and beg for her name. Covering her lithe form was a short-sleeved black kimono that had a slit along her leg up to her tight and a revealing neckline. It was tied together by a red sash. For accessories, she had on black fingerless gloves and a fishnet leg warmer on her left ankle. Her hair was tied back into 4 spiked ponytails, with 2 sandy blonde bangs falling over her black forehead protector. Thanks Aunt Kanoichi. Naruto smiled up at the girl. I could sense her watching me. But I don't know why she was. Perhaps it was because I am also a wind user. Naruto also found out he was a sensor type, which in short meant he could see with his eyes closed. He wasn't very good at it, so he found the skill to be pretty useless to him now. "Sand Kunoichi?" she repeated, sounding affronted. She leaped down to the ground and strapped the massive steel black fan to her back. Her teal eyes glared at Naruto playfully. "I have a name. I can't read minds. If you want me to know your name." Naruto gave a charming smile. "You're gonna have to tell me." Perhaps it was because he started growing stronger and his body started shaping up that his confidence flared with a vengeance. All of a sudden, he just naturally felt more sure of himself. When talking big to Sasuke about how he could beat him, he felt as if he could truly do it. His arrogant attitude was now real. There was no need to fake his confidence or lie to himself to feel strong. Truly feeling strong for the first time in his life. Because of this newfound confidence, he found speaking with beautiful girls to be easier and more natural. It helped make Tenten smile, which he loved doing, and it seemed to be working with Temari, which might not be a good thing. "Eager to know my name, are we?" She felt like dancing around the blonde as he was quickly becoming entertaining. "Want me to guess?" "Go ahead. You look like a Raiko." "Raiko?" Temari sounded. Before she laughed loudly and whipped a tear from her eye. Naruto was glad she didn't hit when laughing, unlike the brute Sakura. He found her laugh pleasant to his ears and oddly enough, warming his heart. Her laugh made him laugh as they shared their chuckles together. "You have to let me guess your name now," Temari said, showing a wry smile towards Naruto. "Why not? Go ahead." Scanning Naruto's face to try and think of a name. She took in the details about his face. His eyes, an endless sky blue which seemed to pull her in as if he was pulling her into a genjutsu. His slightly round cheeks were covered by whisker marks and complemented by spiky blonde hair. It made him look feral and rough. Her face quickly heated up and she found that her cheeks became pink. This boy was the first ever to cause her to blush. Back where she was from, boys found approaching her impossible as the fear of her murderous brother was something to duck and hide from. What? What is this feeling? Why does my heart feel so light? She had become so lost in his eyes that her staring was noticed by a smirking Naruto, who noticed the blush. "I see you found something you like." Naruto's words brought her from the thoughts she was having. "How oh? Temari coughed into her hand, feeling extremely embarrassed. She saw Naruto laughing joyfully and glared. "It's not funny. Stop laughing." "Sorry, this is the first time something like this has happened." Naruto calmed down and just reassured her calmly. Feel honored it was by someone as noble as me." "What? Are you a princess?" "I am actually." The girl's confident attitude was back in full swing. "My apologies, princess." Naruto did a fake bow. "Your disrespect is noted." Temari folded her arms over her impressive bust, which caught Naruto's attention. His eyes drifted over the woman in front of him. Jide. That was all Naruto could think. If Tenten was cute and adorable, this specimen in front of him was sexy and sensual. Not to say he didn't find Tenten sexy, which he did. These two just portrayed it in different ways. "The name is Naruto Uzumaki." He finally introduced himself and extended his hand for a shake. "Temari, princess of the hidden sand village." She reached her hand out and the two blondes shook hands. At the same time, both blondes felt a jolt in their bodies and they smiled, liking the feeling. Naruto pulled his hand away first and swore he felt Temari resist the action. But he shook it off and continued smiling. "Naruto, since I am new in town, mind showing me around? I'd like to get somewhat familiar with my surroundings for the exams coming up." Naruto rubbed the back of his head and felt tense. "I was about to go and get something to eat, can it wait till another time or something?" Much like Temari, Naruto too was bold and blunt, often speaking his mind. But he felt bad for a reason unknown to him. Temari instantly regretted that. She cursed for asking that. It was basically asking him out on a date. But she didn't want to stop talking to Naruto just yet. "Well, mind showing me a restaurant? I'm feeling kind of hungry myself." "I don't see why not. I hope you like ramen." Temari placed a slender finger on her chin. "No, I've never heard of anything like that." "Oh, come on. I've got the perfect spot, Wind Rider." "Okay then, Wind Chaser." Smirking at each other's now assigned nicknames, Naruto started walking past the girl, who quickly fell into step next to him, slightly brushing her shoulder up against his. "I want to ask you something," Naruto said. "You may." Their wind style was strong from what I felt. "Are you proficient in it?" Temari smirked hotly at Naruto. "No need to feel inferior. I saw you playing with your wind. It looks like you have only just begun training in it." "That obvious?" Naruto moaned in dissatisfaction. Temari giggled into her hand. "Don't feel bad. It's not like I was able to topple buildings when I first started." Naruto gave her a flat stare. "You're being sarcastic." "That obvious?" Temari said, smiling up at the taller blonde. Naruto rolled his eyes. "Very funny. I'm sorry." But her laugh made it obvious she wasn't sorry at all. Temari noticed something. As they walked and talked, her cheeks began to hurt from smiling so much. And she was laughing as if it was the first time she ever felt joy in her life. Had she really been that deprived of happiness in her life? The laughs she and Naruto shared were some of the best she ever had. Back in the sand, Temari never laughed like this. There was nothing funny about her life in the sand. Just a sandstorm of sadness that was ever present. Much like the sun did her village, it dried up her happiness. But the sun here. Passing a look at Naruto, she smiled as his sun-kissed blonde hair bristled in the wind. His smile was radiant and true. Warming her up unlike the cruel unforgiving sun back home. This warmth. Temari placed a hand over her chest and smiled gently. I don't want to leave it. And voila. Temari looked up to see a modest-looking shack. It had an inviting aura to it and also had a mouth-watering aroma coming from it. Smells good. Tastes even better. Naruto walked and held up the flap for her and nodded with his head for her to come. Thank you. She thanked him before moving into the bar-styled counter. She pulled the fan off her back and leaned it against the counter next to her seat. Welcome. The young woman behind the counter greeted with a smile. Naruto, glad to see you are back. How could I ever stay away? Naruto chuckled. You know I'll just have my usual. Humming right up. Dad. Naruto's back, so just make a bunch. She yelled to the back and looked at the blonde next to Naruto. She gained a teasing glint in her eyes. Oh Naruto, you dog. What's Tenten going to think if she sees you with another girl? What? Stop, it's not even like that. I'm just showing her around the village. So you bring her to your favorite food joint. Naruto, do you have a girlfriend? Unsure why she felt so angry and sad. Temari looked at Naruto more seriously than she intended to. Whoever this Tenten person was, she now began to have negative feelings toward them. No, she's talking about my best friend Tenten. Naruto tossed a look to Am, who batted her eyelashes. I've been bringing her here over the past week. Naruto might not have seen it. But as a girl, Am saw the reaction Temari just had. It may have been quick, but it was still present. Naruto, you are about to have an interesting week. The ramen cook was eager to see how everything would unfold. Oh. Anyways, Am, can you show her the menu? This is her first time having ramen. Sure thing. Oh boy, that hit the spot. Naruto let out a big sigh as he stretched. I can't believe you didn't pay for my meal. Temari grunted. Naruto laughed. You're cool, but I'm not paying for you after only just meeting you. Even still, I told you I was the daughter of the Hokage. It would be an honor to treat such a noble woman. Maybe next time. Temari glared before turning around. Do you still want me to show you around? Naruto asked. It would be your pleasure. What a drag. Naruto thought. But he smiled. You are very prideful and confident. Problem? Her hand was resting on her slim waist and she cocked a blonde eyebrow. No, I like it. Women are more attractive when they're strong. Temari flushed. You heard me. Naruto tilted his head slightly with a smirk. Knowing what he said, Temari got herself under control and gained a sexy smirk. You keep talking like that. She moved closer and placed a palm on Naruto's chest. And I might pay for your meal. It was Naruto's turn to flush as he avoided eye contact. I would not complain. You saw that bill. Temari patted his chest and smirked. The wealth of the Hokage is vast. Pay my bills while you're at it. Naruto joked. It's supposed to be the other way around. Temari jabbed. Well, I'm poor, so good luck with that. Although he was joking, there was truth in that statement. Perhaps if you tour me around good enough, I'll give you a tip. Naruto fell into character. This way, my lady. Temari grinned broadly. That's more like it. Nah, being a kiss-up isn't for me. Naruto relaxed seconds later. Where are you trying to go? Temari sweat dropped. But she was secretly glad Naruto wasn't that kind of guy. She dealt with ass-kissers her whole life. So Naruto not walking on glass around her was a nice feeling. A second wind, so to speak. I'm not sure. I just want to walk around and see the sights. Temari made sure the fan on her back was tied to the red sash tightly. Any place special around here? They're the Hokage faces, but I don't feel like walking all the way up there after just eating. Yeah, me too. So the blondes just walked around the village, Naruto telling Temari of the many pranks he pulled off in certain areas. And how he had to run from village shinobi for his pranks. To this, Temari said he was just like her weasel summon who always caused trouble. As they moved through the village, Temari noticed the stares directed at Naruto when he wasn't looking. Or how people looked at him with so much hatred it caused her to feel uneasy. These regular people just glaring at Naruto for no reason with unblinking eyes of malice. It reaffirmed her thoughts on the matter. And answered the question she first had and why she was following Naruto in the first place. Alright, it's getting dark out. Do you need me to walk you to your hotel? Naruto asked, leaning on a wall. No, it's fine. I can protect myself if some bad guys try to attack me. Temari took a sip from her sweet tea. I'd just blast them all away with my fan. Speaking of that, When can I use it? Naruto put his bottle in the trash and kicked off the wall. When you can do this. Temari held the empty bottle in her hand. Before it flattened in an instant. What did you just do? Naruto asked, his eyes wide in shock. Temari pulled out a kunai, placing Naruto slightly on guard. Relax, I'm not going to stab you. She placed the kunai in her hand. Before, like the bottle, it was crushed. This time into a ball. I am confused, Temari. Do you know how wind is formed? She asked a simple question and tossed the kunai in the trash. She got a shake of the head from Naruto. It's formed by air going from high pressure to low pressure. When you get good enough, you can change these pressures. The smashed cup was filled out in an instant and reshaped by her wind chakra. That's amazing. Naruto was shocked. He didn't think anything like that was possible. Can you teach me? No, I can't. Temari floated the cup into the trash and smiled sadly at Naruto. We are from different villages and might face each other in the Chunnin exams. I can't let you get too strong, or I won't be able to crush you. Naruto shuddered. Maybe, if Temari got strong enough, she could actually crush someone from the wind pressure alone. But he gave her a challenge smirk. Fine then, if I beat you at any time during the Chunnin exams, you have to help me with my wind style. Temari snickered. It will never happen, but fine. I'll humor you, Naruto. They shook on it. Once again, that jolt shot through their bodies. While holding hands, Temari's hand fit perfectly inside Naruto's larger hand, much to their surprise. Temari let go first this time and thought Naruto this time resisted. They stared at each other in silence for several seconds before breaking eye contact and looking anywhere but at each other. I'll see you around, Temari. Why yeah. See ya. Temari backed up and was swept up in a tornado of wind that slowly phased out of existence. Man, she's so cool. Naruto couldn't help but praise. He walked off and stopped for a second. What am I doing? Why was I acting like that with her? For the life of him, Naruto couldn't find an answer, so he just sighed and walked off with his hands in his pockets. Tenten was lying in her bed, gently kicking her feet. She was reading through a magazine of weapons. She liked to read different types of magazines to get ideas for her next masterpiece. Where is Naruto? I haven't seen him all day. She frowned and rolled on her back. She was in her nightwear. Small shorts and button pajama shirt with shuriken on it. I can't seem to stop thinking about him. I wonder if he thinks about me the way I think about him. Tenten took in a breath. I can't believe it, I'm crushing on Whiskers. Tenten knew these feelings creeping into her heart. Naruto wasn't her first crush as Neji held that spot. But with Naruto walking back into her life, those feelings quickly shifted. He had her up all night thinking about him, imagining herself in the place of a romance protagonist. While Naruto swept her off her feet with his sensual words. Only to be reminded Naruto wasn't that kind of guy. As he was cheesy and his pickup lines needed work. But she noticed he was becoming more flirty with her. And on some occasions, she caught him checking her out. Which excited her. His eyes would become so lustful, and she wondered if he was going to act on his feelings. The same could be said for her, however, when Naruto wasn't looking. She snuck in looks at Naruto's body. He was becoming so powerful and that was a massive turn on for her. Tenten placed the magazine on her face and squealed as she rolled on her bed. Damn you, Naruto-kun. Making me feel like this. I can't help it. Tenten laid back on her pillow and looked to the ceiling. Maybe I've always liked you, but just never realized it. What was she going to do? Naruto didn't know the first thing about love. Which is probably why he was so bad at romance. Well, it would be nice to grow with him together as a couple and figure these things out as a team. She then heard the sound of something crash against her window. The lights were off so she couldn't see what was out there clearly. It happened again and she moved closer while grabbing a dagger hanging from her wall. Crack. Now that she was up close, she saw a blonde throwing small rocks at her window from the street. Naruto. What are you doing? Hi Ten-chan. He gave her that grin. Despite her heart jumping, she glared at Naruto. Where have you been all day? Naruto scratched the back of his head. Well, I was training with my team all morning till noon I think, then I did some things on my own. And I met this girl named Temari and showed her around. Pretty busy day. She locked in on that last part. What? Naruto jumped up to her window and stuck to the wall. Come outside, I need your help with some sealing. Naruto tried to pull Tenten out the window, but she protested. Stop. I'm not dressed. She wrestled out of his grasp. I can't go out like this. Naruto looked at Tenten, really looked. He found her dress very appropriate. But he didn't want any other guy looking. So maybe they should just stay here. Okay, I'll just come inside. He moved her aside and jumped into her room. Naruto-kun, get out. My parents are here. Then we better be quiet. Naruto wiggled his eyebrows, grinning at Tenten with hunger in his eyes. The girl blushed and tried to cover up. Stop looking at me like that. Tenten turned around and glared at Naruto over her shoulder. I'm not helping you with your sealing, you should have asked the Temari girl since you were with her all day. Naruto leaned his head back on her pillow. For real, Ten-chan? Yes, now leave. But I haven't seen you all day. Naruto got up from her bed and moved closer until her back hit the window. I've missed you, I want to spend some time with you. He was hovering over her and looking at her fiercely with those blue eyes of his. Tenten's face burned red as things were getting crazy too fast. Naruto just showed up and he was in her room while she was barely wearing clothes. It's just like those romance books. The guy shows up in her room in the middle of the night just like this. He backs her into a corner and whispers sweet words into her ear. Next thing you know, Tenten's face steamed red. Do you even hear what you're saying? You're not that naive, are you? I do know what I'm saying. In 2 weeks, Naruto showed a vast difference in maturity. His words were becoming thought out and not just released without thought. So in times like these, he knew the meaning behind his words. Can we not hang tonight? Naruto, it's late and I'm tired from training today. She still blushed and looked away. Until she felt her chin be raised and directed to look at Naruto, who was giving her a tense stare. Only for a bit. Okay, but you better not try anything. Naruto then grinned and backed off. Good, I promise it will be quick. Tenten had to calm her racing heart as Naruto plopped on her bed and patted the spot next to him. What do you need help with? Just how to understand this barrier seal. What are you doing on barrier seals? That is in the second book, I just gave you the first book yesterday. Tenten laid down next to Naruto. Those clones have been slaving away. Naruto laughed as he received the memories of the clones a couple of hours back. Poor things. Their ringleader is a cruel tyrant. Anyways. What is that? Naruto pointed toward a three-pointed symbol. A three-pointed seal. Which means she dropped and waited for Naruto to figure the answer out. Oh. You need 3 points or seal activations to use this barrier seal. Yes, you should have learned the importance of seal points in the first book. Seal points are what you call the number of sealing matrix to create a seal. So, you would have to create a 3-trigram seal to use this barrier. Cool, can you do it? Naruto asked his teacher in sealing. Of course I can. Do you know who I am? Someone who likes stuffed animals. Naruto looked at the front of the bed, which was covered with stuffed animals. Tenten placed her dagger on the bed, right next to Naruto. Tell anyone and you're dead. What? It's kinda cute. HMPH, focus. Tenten. Her dad yelled and he was getting close to her room. You got to go. Hurry. Tenten and Naruto jumped from the bed in a rush. Alright. I'll see you around. Naruto dived out the window grinning. Nice ass by the way. GRR. He has a jutsu to piss me off. I swear. Just coming in here and getting me all worked up. Tenten. Her father knocked on her door. Come in, Dad. I heard a lot of moving around up here, are you okay? Yay, just trying some moves out before I go to bed. She replied and did a couple of kicks. Okay, well go to bed. You need your rest. He said. Good night, love you. Love you too, Dad. Good night. 2 days later, you guys ready? I could hardly sleep last night. Naruto said, walking in the middle of Sasuke and Sakura. Me too. We are going to crush this. Sakura replied. She had grown confident and strong. So when offered the chance to take part in the exams again, there was no hesitation in her answer this time. Hokage says this is going to be big, so we should not hold anything back. Sasuke spoke, looking as confident as ever. We won't. Team 7 walked down the halls of the academy, confident with Naruto in the middle and his 2 teammates flanking his side. Everyone who saw the team backed off, feeling the powerful aura coming from the 3 genin. Their heads were high and faces calm to an extent which made many wonder if they were being affected at all by this. You guys do better turning around, this is no place for children. An older Chunnin was blocking the door and pushing away someone he knew very well. Yes, especially cute little girls like you. Back off. Sasuke saw Naruto tense up and glare. Just as Naruto was about to blow up, he pulled him back. Will you relax? That is a genjutsu. The Uchiha pointed to the room number, which was incorrect. I know, but I don't like how he's hitting Ten-chan. Naruto growled out in a whisper. Those little shoves and slaps. You've hit her harder during training, I'm sure she doesn't even feel those hits. Hearing Sasuke's words made him relax and understand the truth. She's acting. Naruto stated the obvious. She is, so calm your head and think. From what he heard, Tenten was a strong kunoichi who didn't like being looked down upon. So I am sure if she found out about how Naruto was acting now, she wouldn't be happy. Sakura, you most likely found out this was fake right away, right? You are the best at genjutsu in the team. For his comment, Sakura smirked like her 2 teammates would. I did. Knew you would. Sasuke matched her look and felt proud of Sakura. Alright, let's get going. Naruto started walking toward the stairs and sent a wink toward Tenten, who was being helped by her teammate. I will be right back, you guys. Their teammate in green said before following Team 7. I should have seen this coming. He's going to go after Sasuke. Tenten fixed her hands along her hip. I'm curious to see how good Sasuke is though. Niji, her Hyuga teammate, stayed silent and followed Lee's path with his eyes. Hold it. Team 7 turned to see a kid with bowl-cut styled hair glaring down at them. Especially Sasuke. He flipped down and landed on his 2 feet. My name is Rock Lee, and I wish to fight you. Don't you know who I am? Do you still want to fight? Sasuke looked uninterested as he turned around. Lee turned his big eyes to Sakura and quickly blushed, causing Sakura to pale. Also Sakura-chan, I love you. For his confession. Sakura froze up and nearly fainted until Naruto smacked her upside the head. Naruto turned from the glaring Sakura and looked at Lee, who was focused on Sasuke again. His hands were wrapped in bandages, which indicated he trained pretty hard. Naruto knew of Rock Lee from Tenten, and she always said he trained extremely hard in Taijutsu. So with this information, he turned to Sasuke. Hey, this guy is a Taijutsu expert from what I know. Look at his hands, they are covered in bandages. Sasuke gave Naruto a side-eyed glance. Is that all? It won't be much trouble for me to still defeat him then. That's all I know. But he knows about you and your clan, but still eagerly wishes to fight. I bet there is something he has to counter you. Naruto patted Sasuke on the shoulder before stepping back next to Sakura. If you're going to fight, make it quick. It won't even be 10 seconds. Sasuke took off running towards Lee, who held his strong form. Sasuke threw a punch, only for Lee to vanish from view, making his eyes go wide. He turned to see Lee blinking back into view above him and spinning. Leaf Hurricane. Sasuke was luckily able to duck and dodge the attack. Lee saw this and planted his arms for a kick to Sasuke, who put up his guard. Nothing too crazy. I can still win. They exchanged blows for a little while before all of a sudden, Lee vanished again and Sasuke was sent flying back from a leg kick. Damn, did he just vanish? Naruto asked. That's what it looked like. Sakura said in disbelief. His speed. That was insane. Sasuke's look turned more serious as he turned on his Taijutsu. I'll see his next move. Stop dragging your feet, Sasuke. Let's go. Naruto couldn't help but feel amused as Sasuke got his ass beat in only a couple of seconds. Hey there you three. Kakashi, their sensei, was leaning on the door. What happened? He noticed Sasuke glaring at nothing. Sasuke-kun got into a fight with this guy named Rock Lee. And Sakura didn't finish as Sasuke glared at her. Well, you win some and lose some. Their sensei gave his great advice. But there isn't much time left. So you three go on and do your best. Will do, sensei. Naruto saluted and walked through the door as the other two nodded at Kakashi. As soon as they entered, the stares of hostility and killing intent faced them head-on. It immediately put the three on guard as they had to be subjected to the glares and scornful chakra. Naruto and Sasuke noticed Sakura shaking slightly but doing her best to fight off the intent. Like a switch had been flipped, Naruto and Sasuke's looks turned chilling. Slowly rolling off Naruto in waves was his potent chakra that began suffocating the room and damaging the room. Sasuke sent his own killing intent and infused his chakra with Naruto's, making it even stronger as the effects had visual changes on the class. In an instant, the roles were reversed and many found themselves on the floor, losing the ability to stay conscious from the mix of potent chakra. The effects were largely Naruto's chakra destroying the room, while Sasuke's own just amped the intensity a little. Well, the blondie's got it going on. An aggressive-sounding Rikichi said. I'd be careful. His chakra is very potent and thick. A stoic and calm voice warned. A blonde bombshell looking over at the situation going down. Yay. Maybe he's going to kill us in this exam. A dark-skinned boy with white hair said. Naruto and his team had moved to another section of the room and just waited for everything to begin. While waiting, they were greeted by the other Leaf teams, which happened to be their entire class. Naruto looked around for Temari and gave her a wink. She smirked and gave him a small peace sign in response with her own grin. It seemed this interaction was noticed by Tenten as her eyes narrowed in on both blondes. Temari saw the eyes on her and glared back at Tenten, understanding immediately who this was. Their rivalry was sparked at that moment. One that would definitely be solved in this exam. That was when their proctor came in and began the paper test. Okay. Let's see what scrolls we have. Sakura patted the pockets of the rain genin who was lying unconscious underneath her. Damn, it's not what we need. Even so, Sakura took the scroll and also robbed the ninja of his weapons. Hold up. I can feel a strong team coming. Naruto alerted his team members as they followed his eyes to the large trees. The rainfall of lava seeped from the trees and they all had to dodge the shower of melting lava. Yo. Let's see them scrolls, tree lickers. A slim-built girl with a wide grin demanded. Umbus, we should have just snuck up on them. A girl the same height as Sakura said, landing next to the pink-eyed teen. She was wearing an orange full-body hoodie that exposed her slender arms and revealed her back and thigh. So underneath the hoodie were black tight shorts and a top. On her back was a large four-pointed shuriken with hooked edges. The girl's long green hair was tied into a ponytail. There were wristbands on her arms which looked to be seals. But no, I want to show off my lava and burn this forest to the ground. She mocked. Shut up Kitsuki. Before I erase your ass. Whatever Kuretsuchi. Can you two focus up? A deep male voice came from behind Team 7, causing them to swirl around. When did he get there? Naruto thought alarmed as he saw the strong-built male wearing a red battle robe while holding an extremely tall battle axe. Where metal normally was, instead was a glowing blue gem that looked just as deadly. Nice flank Nakami Tadaboru. Kuritoshi leaped off the branch and grinned as Team 7 looked to be trapped. So, is it going to be the easy way or the hard way? Naruto's look shifted into a stern one as he sent the stone ninja a death glare. I think we'll take the hard way. Just like that, Kuretsuchi flashed in front of Naruto's face and they were staring fiercely into each other's eyes. Oh yeah? Yay. That, now watch Naruto look in. Fine by me. We'll see if your answer changes when you're knocking on death's door. Kuretsuchi brought up her leg and aimed for a head kick. Naruto caught the quick and powerful leg and gripped her tightly around her ankles. Naruto rubbed his hands up Kuretsuchi's long legs in a sensual manner. He got a feel of her toned thighs, even though it was being blocked by fishnet leggings and dark red shorts. For his actions, Naruto saw Kuretsuchi blush intensely and glare venomously at him. Why you, filthy pervert. I'm gonna melt your ass for good. The leg he had been holding quickly became hot and lava formed. Luckily Naruto let go before he was burnt. Quick temper and easily distracted. People tend to fight more sloppily when angry. But there is also the risk of being amped by one's rage. I'll have to be careful of her. Naruto landed beside Sasuke who already had his Sharingan activated. Couldn't you control yourself, Naruto? Sasuke asked getting back to back with his teammate. Just wanted to anger her, she'll fight more sloppily. Naruto whispered back so no one could hear but Sasuke and Sakura. Their female teammate had also joined their backs and was watching the tall and handsome Nakami. What are we going to do? Sasuke asked, bringing a kunai to his hands. We don't know how strong these guys are. But we know the black-haired one can use lava style, a Kekkei Genkai from some clan, which means she'll be naturally stronger than these other two. Naruto withdrew a demon wind shuriken and unfolded it. The four blades vibrated with intensity as Naruto flowed his chakra through them. Let's just feel them out first and gain a sense of their power. Naruto showed his newfound intellect toward his new teammates as their semi-plan was formed. Okay, Sakura. I'm going to take the guy behind you with the axe and you take this chick with the shuriken. Got it? Hey, you assholes. What are you whispering about? As Naruto said, she had a quick temper and it was showing its ugly head. Blondie, you are so dead. You won't be leaving here alive. Talk, that's all you are. Naruto responded with a smirk which only increased her anger. Girl, you need to relax, he's only messing with you. Her teammate Kitsuki tried calming her down. Sweeping a hand through her green hair. Shut it. I'm going after the blonde, you two do whatever you want. Kuretsuchi leaped down towards Team 7 with a leg drop. Her leg quickly became covered in a layer of rock that shattered the grass floor to bits when it made contact. And like she said, her target was Naruto Uzumaki, who was fending her off with his shuriken while she aimed to cave in his chest with her fist. She had to duck as the weapon almost took her head off. That wasn't the end as Naruto forced her into a defensive position with his aggressive fighting. She roared and used her right hand to catch him with a hook only for Naruto to duck and swivel behind her. She spun around with her elbow and saw to her confusion and slight worry. An army of Narutos giving her stares of conviction. Where am I? A voice whispered in her ear sending shivers down her spine. Basic clones can't beat me. I am unstoppable. Moving forward, Kuretsuchi leaped into the army of clones and punched one in the face. Huh? I felt it. Which means. Her heart sank to her stomach and she quickly found herself in the middle of an army. Shadow clones are real copies of the original. It's a forbidden jutsu in my village and not even Jounin are able to master this jutsu. The voice speaking to her stopped its talking causing her to frantically search around for the real Naruto. But I can. And the onslaught began. Kuretsuchi found herself hard-pressed to defend herself from the assault of Naruto's clones. A strong punch across her face made her head snap back while she was quickly punched 2 more times. You bastard. She channeled her anger into her chakra and started fighting back. Even still, she found herself being struck countless times while she could barely dispel these clones. So you are lacking in jutsu, I recommend you train in the art before trying to fight me again. Even as the clone beat her, he still managed to rile her up. Enough of this. Her chakra exploded in a large wave as it destroyed some of Naruto's clones. Fine then. Let's see just how good your jutsu is. Huh. Now battered and bruised, her red vest was all messed up thanks to that blonde. Earth style. Earth flow spears. All of Naruto's clones got destroyed as spears of earth shot from the ground impaling them. Don't underestimate the hidden stone. Over with Sasuke, he broke away from his clash with Nakami. His fight also was tough as the man wielded that two-handed axe with ease. There were too many close calls to count where he had almost been cut in two. Sasuke used his Sharingan and launched a hail of kunai toward the individual who was running from them all. He then wove hand signs for his jutsu that would hopefully give him a chance. Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. Rushing towards his opponent was shuriken covered in fire chakra that locked in on his chakra. Heave ho. A large swing of his axe sent the jutsu of course and into the thick trees around them. A jutsu like he was halted from speaking as Sasuke appeared behind him with a kunai covered in fire. Sasuke lunged forward only to be surprised as the man backflipped behind him and cut into his back, drawing blood and a scream of pain from him. That was nice, attacking when you saw I couldn't possibly dodge as I was still in motion from my other attack. He walked closer to Sasuke who stumbled to his feet. I was just able to react in time and move as you saw. Damn it. I can't lose here, not when my brother is still alive. I have to make him survive so that I can see his death. Sasuke wobbled to his feet and glared sharply at Nakami. I have to win. To protect them. Which is why I need power. Sasuke's blood pumped as he readied his heart for battle. Second wind. Nakami swung the axe at Sasuke who dodged and struck out with kicks towards Nakami who blocked. It'll die down soon enough. Instead of responding with words, Sasuke channeled his chakra. Uchiha style. Dragonfly dance. Sasuke's hands were blanketed in fire as he rushed forward with faster and stronger jutsu. Nakami blocked the young Uchiha's attacks with more effort as he sent two big slashes towards Sasuke, who in response, arsed his arm downwards, sending twin blades of fire towards Nakami. Earth wall. Nakami rose up a wall while stomping his foot into the ground, blocking the oncoming attack from Sasuke. The wall dropped and out came Nakami swinging his axe in focused swings. I can see him, I'm predicting his moves. Sasuke dropped low and performed a barrage of kicks to Nakami's face that left burns. As Nakami slid back from the attack, the shining blue gem on his axe glowed brightly. That is more than enough chakra, this fight is over. Fireball barrage. Sasuke sent a volley of fireballs to Nakami's position and they all exploded in a fierce explosion covering the area in debris. But the Uchiha wasn't done there as he opened his mouth and sent an inferno of fire rushing toward the impact, causing an even more incredible explosion of fire that formed into a vortex of flames. Sasuke couldn't help the smirk that crossed his face. But staying focused and keeping his head leveled, the boy took a breath and fell into his stance. That was pretty good. Suppose if it wasn't for my baby here. I might have been burned alive. Walking from the fire untouched was the lithe form of Nakami. You have my respect. I may have 2 years on you, but you are the toughest fighter I've fought in a while. How are you not damaged? Even if you are that tough, there should still be some damage to your body. Sasuke's mind raced for ideas as he tried to come up with a reason. Then, Sasuke saw the axe float from behind Nakami. It's thanks to this baby right here, Earth Shaper. An axe forged in the lava of the four-tailed monkey, able to split mountains and carve trenches. But what's really special about it is the anti-chakra field it can create. Anti-chakra? Like cancelling out chakra? Sasuke asked, voice shaking. Yeah. But it can only affect the chakra in the air already out of your system. The only problem is the timer is short and it takes a while for the jutsu to be prepared as it takes a lot of chakra. Nakami tapped the blue gem on the tip of the axe, smirking. So whenever this field comes up, I am on a timer. Which means this fight has to come to an end. Sasuke clenched his teeth together as he could see the faint barrier around Nakami. What could he do? Jutsu won't work while that field is up. So I'll have to use Taijutsu or just run down the timer. But with no indication of how long it would take. I'd just be wasting my own energy. Sasuke's eyes glinted in determination. Fine then, bring it on. Nakami chuckled. Alright, you better put your guard up. Nakami rushed forward and clashed with Sasuke's kunai which was broken on contact, forcing the Uchiha to improvise as he launched flame-covered kunai at Nakami. Seeing this, Nakami hurled the weapon at Sasuke who bounced off a nearby branch. Only to widen his eyes when Nakami appeared behind him holding the axe. Thinking quickly, Sasuke used substitution and watched the log be split. Sasuke pulled ninja wire from his pouch and attached them to kunai and shuriken which he then threw at Nakami. The stone ninja blocked or evaded the attack as he landed on the ground, which is what Sasuke wanted to happen. He yanked on the thin wire attached to his weapons as he pulled them back. Nakami felt his body tighten up and be pulled. What is this? He looked to see ninja wire wrapped around his body and forced the axe from his hand. Sasuke smirked. With his Sharingan activated, he noticed the barrier dropped around Nakami. As I thought. He needs to be holding the axe for the barrier to be effective. Now's my chance to attack before he breaks free. Sasuke placed the wires in his mouth holding them tightly and flipped through hand signs. Fire style. Dragon fire jutsu. Not good. He must be able to see the barrier with his Sharingan. The Uchiha are truly dangerous. Flexing his chakra and muscles, he managed to snap the wires with great effort. He quickly reached and grabbed the handle of his axe, forming the barrier slightly late. Suffering burns and feeling the heat scar his body. I was saving this attack for Naruto in our rematch, but I won't have one if I can't bring this guy down. Sasuke sent chakra to his right arm and became cloaked in fire nature chakra. Flame of the rich dragon. Spiraling around Sasuke's arm was a white dragon born from flames that roared and spiraled towards a wide-eyed Nakami. World Splitter. Nakami used one of his secret techniques as he met the dragon head-on with his own beastly roar. The explosion that sounded could be heard for miles into the forest. Their combined attacks left a crater in the center where Sasuke lay on his stomach suffering from his wounds. "Good fight," Nakami whispered looking down at Sasuke with his purple eyes that gleamed with respect behind a curtain of brown hair. Sakura caught her breath from behind a tree. Her dress was damaged and torn in parts, showing she had been hit a lot. Sakura was finding out that those rock jutsu left nasty bruises on the skin she worked so hard on. Damn it. Even after all the training, I'm still no match for her. Sakura eyed the stone kunoichi with worry as she thought of her next plan. I can't beat her head on, so I will have to use deception and potentially lead her into a trap. Sakura felt inside her ninja pouch and wondered what supplies she would need. Now she got a determined look in her eye and moved into action. Katsuki hummed as she spun her ninja tool around her finger. Throughout this battle, she had been dominating Sakura. She used her weapon to cut Sakura repeatedly or land devastating earth jutsu on her. "Come on out, Pinky. You and I both know this fight is all but over." She yelled to the trees while slowly turning to look for just a glint of the girl. Since there was no word from Sakura, Katsuki looked to see how her teammates were doing. The blonde one was being pushed back as Kuritsuchi hounded him with her wide range of jutsu. And the Uchiha looked to be winning against Nakami of all people. While walking, Katsuki found she had tripped over a wire. She knew what that meant. So when she looked around with her onyx eyes for some kind of trap, she was ready. Only for nothing to happen and her guard slowly dropped. Her ears twitched as they picked up the sound of something swinging through the air. She turned and saw a log with senbon jammed into it looking like a mace. She barely had time to react as it managed to clip her shoulder, getting 3 needles stuck. Damn, that stings. She yanked them out and glared in the direction the trap came from. She dashed in the direction, thinking the girl couldn't have gotten far. Falling onto a tree branch, Katsuki heard a sizzling sound and looked to her feet to see a paper bomb. So thinking quickly, the girl covered her skin in a thick layer of rock. There was only a puff of confetti that exploded from the tag, making her confused. The smoke then formed letters. "Better watch your backside." So Katsuki turned around expecting an oncoming attack only to be greeted with dead silence. That was strange, the forest wasn't quiet. Especially when her teammates were just fighting next to her. It was fake. Jinjutsu. So she riled up her chakra and escaped the trap. Once again, she heard a sizzling sound and this time it was on her back. A loud explosion sounded and the tree bark was sent into small chunks. Flying from the smoke cloud was Katsuki with chunks of her rock armor falling apart. She landed back first into the ground and small bits of blood came from her mouth. She rolled over and rested on one of her knees. Her ears rang intensely, causing her to groan in pain as her vision blurred. Falling from the branches was a thick tree log that landed a solid hit on Katsuki, who was flung into the air from the force of it. Fire style. Fire blast. Sakura made herself known and breathed out a small ball of flame. "That jutsu is pathetic, I can take a hit from fire." Her thoughts left her as the small ball of fire connected with her gut. It may have been small, but the density and mass of the jutsu left her gasping for air. It appeared that jutsu was not for mass damage or spreading flames. The real strength of this jutsu is in its density and mass. It could even knock an elephant off its feet. So a small girl is no match for it. "I'll have to thank Sasuke-kun for teaching me this jutsu." Sakura grinned as she landed on the ground. That should have done enough damage to have knocked her out. But even still, she held out a kunai just in case. A roar could be heard as Sakura heard a cry of summoning and a poof of smoke became known. Sakura's body shivered in fear as yellow eyes gleamed dangerously at her from within the smoke. A deep and menacing growl escaped the smoke, making her even more frightened. Then a glowing orange ball could be seen before it launched the jutsu at her. She jumped into the trees and dodged a stream of fire. "Playtime's over, I can't believe you made me use this. I'll give it to you though," Katsuki said from atop the head of a beast. It was a lizard-like animal with spikes for a beard. Their skin is a rough red with spike-like horns coming from the side of its body. A swipe of their long tails sent all the wind away as stomping forward was a bearded dragon of monster size. "Meet Big Red, my spiked companion." She rubbed at the lizard's head. "Now, I'll be taking that scroll from you. How do you have a summoning contract? You're only a genin." Sakura yelled in fright, finding her knees shaking. "It was a reward for completing one of my missions. Unlike you Leaf guys, we are trained to kill and protect our village. Not chasing after boys or attempting to solve the world's problems, only village problems." Katsuki then crossed her arms and glared down at Sakura. Sakura took a deep breath and closed her eyes for a moment. She thought back to her 2 weeks of training, along with all the talk she shared with her team. All of their bonding and surprisingly alone time with Sasuke. Her training. She grew stronger to protect these memories and the village itself. So she snapped her eyes back open and glared fiercely at Kitsuki. She tied her headband around her forehead while bringing out a kunai. I'm a kunoichi, and I've trained hard to say that. I'll show you the power I've gained to protect what is close to me. Uncharacteristically, Sakura showed a determined side of herself that served to put Kitsuki on guard. At a girl. She felt her shoulder be grabbed and saw Naruto standing next to her grinning. Despite being surprised. She was still glad to see Naruto standing next to her. Naruto. What are you doing over here? What about that girl you were fighting? He pointed his thumb at her and kept his eyes on Kitsuki. She's a little preoccupied at the moment. Following his thumb, Sakura and Kitsuki saw Kuritsuchi banging on a blue barrier while glaring at Naruto. Naruto. You let me go right now. I put a small seal on her before we started fighting when I grabbed her leg. So that wasn't just you being a pervert. Sakura had to hand it to Naruto. That was very smart and a great way to think ahead. Say. You've got more respect for me than that, right? Naruto asked with a twitching brow. Hate to interrupt your lover's bout. Gaining a loud what from Naruto and Sakura. Before she continued. This fight won't go on for long, and neither will that barrier, as I can feel and see how weak it is. Naruto narrowed his eyes. She's right, maybe if I made that seal in advance it would have been stronger. But we don't have much time to take her down. Okay, let's just make this quick and see what we can do. Sakura whispered as she and Naruto nodded. Right. I'll move out first. Naruto leaped forward aiming to knock Kitsuki off the head of the giant lizard. It was more than 10 meters tall and was a bulky individual, to say the least. Don't just run right toward me. She wove hand signs and spewed out a horde of rocks at Naruto, who went up in smoke. Naruto came falling from the sky with his next jutsu already activated. Beast Wave Gale Palm. A giant claw of wind escaped Naruto's hand as he reached to crush the lizard with his powerful jutsu. The lizard moved its head up and growled before blowing out a breath of fire that grew bigger when it came into contact with Naruto's wind. Naruto screamed as he was burned from the attack, sending him back to the ground. Wind is useless against Big Red. Try harder. Fine then. Sakura came down with a fleet of tree logs that Kitsuki and Big Red had to run away from. They're so annoying. Kitsuki moved through the forest floor quickly as Big Red trampled over everything. Then try and stop us. Naruto yelled, swinging in from behind a tree and drop-kicking her off the beast. He managed to catch Kitsuki by surprise, launching her into the forest. While she was in the air, another clone of Naruto was rocketed down by Naruto's stream, sending her crashing into the forest floor. Sakura, I've got a plan. Naruto landed beside Sakura, who was up in the tree. What is it? They both moved as Big Red ripped the tree down with his sharp claws. Naruto sent a Beast Wave Gale Palm into Big Red's face, stunning him for the moment. I'm going to use Starfield and you are going to hit it with the fire jutsu Sasuke taught you. Sakura immediately caught on to what Naruto planned to do with his jutsu and grinned. Taking them both out with just one jutsu. Sakura gave Naruto a grin. On your mark. Naruto slid to a stop and puffed out his chest. He got Kitsuki, who had climbed back onto Big Red, into view. A shadow fell over both of them and Naruto was forced to throw Sakura out of the way as he was crushed under the giant fist of a stone golem. Naruto. Sakura yelled from the side as she watched Naruto be punched under the fist of that rock monster. That's the end of this fight, Pinky. You're alone now with no one to help. Kuritsuchi taunted the girl from atop the head of a giant golem made from the earth itself. Facing Sakura was a mountain she could not climb. It was a fire-breathing lizard, a golden of earth, and their other teammate who had defeated Sasuke. But even still, Sakura clenched her fist. My teammates wouldn't give up, and neither will I. Sakura yelled her defiance to the team in front of her. Mikami sighed. You've got to respect the girl's guts. But it's all for nothing, she's not strong enough to back up her words. Kitsuki stepped forward. I'll finish her. At the scroll while you're at it. Kuritsuchi ordered with crossed arms. Kitsuki flashed from her position and appeared behind Sakura. Until next time. Sakura tried to attack but was chopped in the neck. Reaching down to search Sakura's gear, Kitsuki found what she was after. Just an earth scroll, we still need the heaven scroll. And I was hoping to get lucky on our first try. Kuritsuchi kissed her teeth and let the jutsu crumble. She walked over to Naruto and kicked him. And that's for feeling me up, bastard. She grumbled, walking off. More fights for us then. Kitsuchi followed behind Kuritsuchi and Mikami. Naruto rested his back along the wall of the cave they were in. Laying down were Sakura and Sasuke sporting wounds. Guess I should patch them up. Naruto grabbed some bandages out of his pouch. He took off Sasuke's shirt and wrapped Sasuke's back as best he could. While Sakura just needed bandages and to be cleaned of the dirt that might fall into her wounds. Naruto felt his own wounds healing and took a breath. Kuretsuchi had wounded him badly. That whole team. They were so advanced. Things would have been worse if they fought us as a team. Naruto narrowed his eyes feeling angry. Now we are down both scrolls, injured and open to attacks. We are going to need a big comeback tomorrow. Naruto took off his jacket leaving him in just his plain black shirt. He used it as a pillow and put it behind his back. What's our plan going to be? We've got to pick off one of the weak teams. But who is so weak that they couldn't even put up a fight? Naruto started thinking about the teams he had observed during the first exam. Teammate, Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuyasaka, Shino Abram. A team primarily focused on tracking which would be almost impossible to sneak up on. Hinata could see us with her Byakugan, Kiba could smell them, and Shino might have set up traps with his bugs. The next team, Team 10. Shikamaru is a smart guy but is weak and should be easily surprised by an attack from his comrades of all people. Choji is a big hitter who could serve to be trouble, but nothing me or Sasuke couldn't handle. Then Ino. A grin came to his face. They now had a target, but guilt quickly began to slumber in his stomach. Perhaps, this should just be a backup plan if all goes wrong and they are in need of scrolls. Damn it, curse my pure heart. I need to think about the benefit to my team right now. I can't be swayed by personal feelings. But Naruto just couldn't help it. That's just who he was. A kind-hearted individual who didn't like causing suffering to others. His biggest hurdle would be finding a way to key away his emotions like a true shinobi would during missions. He turned his eyes to Sakura and Sasuke. Unknown to him, Sakura had somehow found Sasuke's body and used it as a pillow while Sasuke was turned on his side, almost running from her. At least those two are sleeping good. He chuckled and shut his own eyes. I wonder how Tenchan is doing now. Temari as well. Maybe I could get one of them to help me. Before dozing off in a restless sleep. Bye-bye now. Temari waved as she watched a rain ninja be turned into a splatter of blood which was quickly soaked up by her brother. Their blood was awful. Her short red-haired brother darkly spoke. The sand was sent back into the tan gourd on his back. His teal eyes searched the surroundings for anything that might help him find some new prey. Her two brothers started walking off into the forest. Are we heading back to the tower now? I think we might be able to set a record at this point. The tallest one wearing a black bodysuit with cat ears said. It shouldn't be too far from here. No. The youngest sibling all but shouted. I need to kill some more. Until I am satisfied. But Gaara, you've already killed enough teams. If this keeps up the Leaf might suspect us of something. Kankuro shakingly muttered back to his younger brother. I don't care. We're not leaving until I am satisfied. Gaara was now glaring at Kankuro which caused said teen to freeze. I hope Naruto-kun is okay, I want to see him again. I'm feeling so worried all of a sudden. Temari felt off-put as she stared into the deep forest. Temari, tell him. Kankuro yelled catching her attention. How well she was thinking about Naruto, Kankuro was holding Gaara by his collar glaring at him. Tell him we should just go. If we stick around just so he can sate this bloodlust. It's only going to cause more problems. Let go of me. Gaara used his sand and pulled Kankuro off his feet. Fine then, we can head to the tower. Just watch your back in your sleep. After his threat, Gaara said nothing else and walked into the forest. Thanks for the help, big sis. Kankuro quoted the title as he glared at Temari. Even as Kankuro yelled at her, she still seemed to be off in her own land. A frown took hold of her pretty face. What's with you? You've looked to be out of it recently. Kankuro asked getting close and placing a hand on her forehead. Are you feeling okay? He asked, showing care for his sister. Temari quickly moved his hand away. It's fine, don't look into it. Temari quickly walked ahead of him as she caught up to her brother. And stop wearing my makeup. Tenten broke away from her sword clash against her opponent. Staring at her was a girl her age with calm blue eyes that had a rich fierceness in them. We've been fighting for about 20 minutes now and I've only landed a few cuts. While she seems unable to miss. Tenten moved back in to meet her enemy in their Kenjutsu spar. Their blades sparked off one another as Tenten found the longer this fight went on, the more she got cut. You're too weak to see me in battle. The girl whispered as 4 cuts opened up on Tenten's body. You have some skill, but it's only just passing the threshold for being mediocre. A quick pivot and Tenten was sent flying from a kick. Tenten. Lee shouted from his fight. Not so fast brows. At a speed faster than Lee was expecting, he was punched into a tree. You're in my way. Lee shouted from the ground while whipping the blood from his face. Harry spit at his feet. Well come on and move me then. All of a sudden, Lee's eyes changed, turning his big eyes into a narrowed field of determination. You leave me no choice, I will crush you and go save Tenten. Then Command Carrie was halted as her body was sent spiraling into the air. What the? Lee appeared and landed a barrage of kicks to her gut before speeding away and coming back in with his final move. Leaf drop. Bringing down his leg in a brutal kick, Carrie was left unconscious as she cratered the ground on impact. Enough talk. This ends now. Tenten was surrounded by floating ceiling tags that all brought out weapons. Secret art. 1,000-weapon fleet. All the weapons were launched at Samui with unrivaled speeds as she focused her chakra. Samui took a breath as lighting chakra began sparking from her body. Lightning armor. Blade sweep. In a sweeping motion, all of Tenten's weapons were blasted away, impacting the surrounding areas. Following her sweeping motion, Samui brought her hand down to finish the two-part attack. A massive arc of light rushed from her blade with Tenten in its sights. Air palms barrage. Several gusts of wind impacted her attack until it was nothing. Samui looked to see Niji and Lee standing in front of Tenten. "Hand over your scroll or die," Niji said with no shy bits of hatred. Samui saw she was at a disadvantage in this situation and decided to pull the scroll from her large cleavage, making Lee blush in the process. She rolled it on the ground before slowly moving towards her two knocked-out teammates. Samui said nothing and just jumped into the trees without looking back. Next day, Team 7 was jumping through the trees in silence as Naruto briefed them on what he had come up with. Which meant they were on the hunt to pick off a weak team. While also having their backup plan of knocking off Team 10. There was a growl that escaped Sasuke's stomach, gaining looks from both his teammates. Princes didn't get their 5-star breakfast. Naruto gave a teasing grin to his friend. "Shut up. I'm getting kind of hungry as well. We should find something to eat." Sakura rubbed at her stomach, feeling the lack of food take its toll on her body. "Well, if you see any animal that doesn't look ready to eat us, go after it," Naruto said. "In the meantime, let's keep our eyes open and senses sharp. I don't want to get ambushed." "Who made you team leader?" Even though Naruto was smarter now and not a complete dumbass, the thought of being ordered around by him left a nasty taste in his mouth. "Sakura did." "What? Sakura, you went along with this?" Sasuke turned his wide eyes to his pink-haired teammate. "Huh? No, he's lying, Sasuke-kun. I'd never." She then hit Naruto upside the head. "Don't go putting words in my mouth, idiot." Glaring angrily at Naruto, who rubbed his head. "Whatever, don't make me tell Sasuke what you were mumbling in your sleep." "Oh Sasuke-kun, I'm a good kitten." Naruto laughed loudly at the blushing face of Sakura and Sasuke, who had turned his head away. "I did not say that. HMPH, whatever helps you sleep at night." Their joking was cut short as a cut opened up on Naruto's cheek. They all stopped on a branch and wondered where it came from. All of a sudden, their section of the forest began to rumble. All of a sudden a whistle could be heard and the team was greeted by winds they had never experienced as it managed to blow Naruto completely away. "No. Naruto." Sakura yelled in panic as she quickly became worried for the safety of her close friend. As Naruto became stuck in a tree from the force of that wind jutsu he was hit with. "Damn it. It's just one thing after another in here." He pulled himself from the tree with great effort. Then, the ground underneath him cracked and up came a giant snake that ate him whole. The snake swallowed and slithered away quickly through the jungle of trees. Its mission was to draw the Uzumaki away or eliminate him. Inside the stomach of the beast, Naruto was tossed around and began to get angry. With a rage-filled yell, he summoned an army of shadow clones with a mission of stuffing the snake's mouth full. As expected, the snake needed to spit and so came out all the clones of Naruto. While inside the snake, Naruto also took the liberty of leaving behind some paper bombs as a goodbye gift. But the snake gone and him out of its stomach, Naruto looked towards the direction he figured he came from. Shadow clone jutsu. Clones puffed into existence. "Spread out and find them, dispel when you do." "Yes boss." The clone said before rushing off to do their job. Now, what to do in the meantime? Naruto expanded his senses hoping to find something. Then he felt a familiar signature chakra. "Seems luck is on my side. I'll take the scroll before the clones find my team." Naruto leaped into the trees and took off in the direction of Team 10. Ino shivered. "Guys, I just got a bad feeling about something." "Like what?" Choji said, stuffing his face with chips. "Like someone is after us." Shikamaru said with steel in his eyes for once. "Yay, how did you know?" Ino asked curiously. "Because I felt it too. Something is definitely about to happen and we need to be ready." Out of nowhere, Shikamaru found a weight on his back before he was slammed into the ground with spit flying from his mouth. "Shikamaru." Choji yelled and moved to take action quickly. His hand expanded into a large fist, punching the thing off of his best friend's back. "Shikamaru. Are you alright?" Inara could barely move as whatever hit him landed a critical blow to him. "And no, my back." Ino ran up quickly to see what was going on. "Oh my god. What just happened?" "I don't know. But whatever it is." Choji turned to see where he had hit the thing. Only to see empty space. "No, it's gone." "Ino, watch out." Being frozen in his tracks was Naruto mid-kick to Ino's head. "Man, I almost had her." They were all shocked to see the prankster attacking them. "Naruto. What do you think you're doing? Are you trying to kill me?" Naruto gave an eye smile. "Of course not, just slight brain damage." "Well, not more than you already have." The Yamanaka fumed, turning red in the face. "I'll show you." She walked up, bringing her hand back for a slap. "Wait, Ino. Don't get so close to him." Shikamaru warned, holding Naruto in place with his shadow. "Naruto, what are you doing, man? We're comrades." Choji asked, sounding hurt. The which Naruto gave a sigh. "Yeah, but I need some scrolls in order to pass. And you thought our team was the weakest to pick off, right? So you came here alone to wrap this up?" Shikamaru deduced, sounding a bit angry. "Nothing against you guys, we're still friends and all." Naruto grinned, reassuring them. "Then why? Why are you coming after us?" Ino demanded. "It's like he said. We are the weakest team and their team must have lost both of their scrolls and decided to make a play. In truth, we were thinking the same thing about your team. If all we had to do was isolate Sasuke, the rest would be easy." The Nara once again showed his intelligence as he revealed what was going on inside that big brain of his. "Doubtful, even the old me could have held you three off. Let alone how I am now." Naruto said calmly, placing the three on edge. "He's different. I don't know what happened outside the academy, but he's not playing around. And my grip on his shadow is becoming weak." Shikamaru thought. "Enough talk. You guys will still have 4 days to find a scroll after this." Naruto's chakra spiked and the shadow on his feet loosened before snapping off and allowing him movement. "Toji, knock him away." Hearing Shikamaru's order, Choji sent both of his fists out to attack Naruto. Expansion Jutsu. Quickly using a jutsu he was becoming familiar with, Naruto sent Beast Wave Gale Palm to grab both of Choji's arms before throwing him with great force into a tree. "Damn." Shikamaru turned and ran but was slowed due to the pain in his back. The Nara pulled out smoke bombs and threw them on the ground to blind the blonde. "Where are you going?" Shikamaru was punched across the face as Naruto spotted him through the smoke. He bounced across the ground as the strength behind the blow was enough to cause his vision to cloud over in darkness. As he focused again, Shikamaru could see Naruto standing over a shaking Ino. "Ino, just give it." Ino hesitantly reached into her pouch and pulled out a heaven scroll. Naruto took it from her hands and nodded one time. "Sorry for this again, but I'll see you all at the end of this." He turned and with a leap he was gone in the wind. "God damn it. I can't believe we just got beat by the dead last of our class." Ino yelled, slamming her fist into the ground. "When this is over, I'm going to hang him over a pit of snake." Shikamaru ignored Ino's rants and looked to see Choji in dreamland. With just one attack, he knocked out Choji, almost broke my back with just his strength alone, and he had enough power to resist my shadow paralysis during that exchange. He had been trying to force Naruto to move in the opposite direction, but nothing happened and Naruto merely wobbled on his one leg. What a drag. "Alright, let me know what you think." Sasuke stared at his executioner who licked their lips with a face-splitting grin. Sakura was next to him trying to help the best way she could. Some grass ninja appeared on a snake's head shortly after blasting Naruto away. So they fought for Naruto and to gain a scroll from this single individual. It was a fight that soon turned into a fight for survival quickly. Even after barely landing attacks on this woman, their attacks did nothing and only caused them to move faster and punch stronger. "I don't get it. Why is someone so strong still only a genin?" Sasuke turned to look at Sakura who was breathing heavily. "You retreat and find Naruto. I will hold her off while you escape." "No." Sakura didn't even look at him and kept her unflinching eyes on the opposing ninja in front of them. Her response was quick and her mind was already made up. "That would be suicide on your part for sure. You can hardly grip your kunai straight." Sasuke turned and cursed his trembling arm. Sakura knew this because her arm shook openly for the ninja to see. Even with Sasuke's newly obtained double Tomo Sharingan, he was still being pushed even taking in his power up. "What's the next move?" "Falling leaves." The female mockingly asked them, tilting their head. "Sakura, we need to trap her somehow and let me hit her with my most powerful jutsu." "Do you think he's going to let that happen?" "I don't know why she's here, but it definitely isn't because of the scroll. This whole time she's been restricting herself from hitting us with everything. Blows I know can be fatal are just bruised or cracked bones. So she's looking for something. Maybe looking for you." Orochimaru was impressed that the kids could bounce ideas off each other like that and come up with the right answer. From what he'd seen so far, Orochimaru was impressed and content that Sasuke could serve as his vessel. Though his eyes were not yet ripe, he still had a lot of growing left to do. Under his teaching, Sasuke would grow to be big and strong. Maturing his eyes to a point he thought satisfactory. Until Sasuke had surpassed his older brother and his unimaginably powerful Mangekyo Sharingan. "It's like Kakashi said. Shinobi from other villages take powerful shinobi and study their bodies." Sasuke narrowed his eyes dangerously at the woman chuckling in front of him. The other villages would love to take his eyes and use them for their own goals. The world was like that, people operating to suit their own gain. "So she's after your Sharingan," Sakura concluded. She moved closer to Sasuke to stand next to him with the unsaid message. "Okay, so I just need to protect you then." HMPH. Sasuke couldn't get the smirk on his face to go away. He felt touched and appreciated her actions. Let's go. Sakura moved off first. Sasuke followed behind, feeling invigorated as his bond with Sakura grew and forced them to fight harder than they had before. Sakura winced as she reached for her left arm. It was sore and felt like it was ready to fall off at any moment. However, this pain was nothing compared to the pain in her heart. As laying next to her she could see Sasuke trapped in agonizing pain. He groaned in agony on the ground. Currently, he was unconscious after being bitten by the revealed Orochimaru of the Sannin. They had lost from the start by fighting that man. Not even their sensei Kakashi, the strongest Jounin, would be a match for the cage-level shinobi. Another loss. Sakura muttered under her breath. She clenched her fist and almost growled at the rage she was filling her heart. The girl was tired of losing and being weak. That was why she was training so hard. To prove she wasn't holding the team back and that she could be something better. Sakura wanted to become a better version of herself so she couldn't sleep. However, right now she had to put her anger on hold and tend to Sasuke. Naruto, get back here soon. She needed the blonde's strength and leadership. Her heart went out to him as well. She hoped he was okay. Outside, Sakura felt 3 4-inch chakra signatures appear. She also heard the sound of her traps going off. No doubt about it, trouble was headed her way. Sakura looked outside to see 3 ninjas wearing the headband for the Sound Village. The one hunched over and covered in bandages only showing his eye spoke first. Some lookout you turned out to be. You look ready to drop. He mocked her and swung his arms as if they were limp. What do you 3 want? Sakura grabbed a kunai from her pouch and fell into guard. Wake up the Uchiha. We want to fight him. He ordered as he finished with a chuckle. Sakura scowled. Another person here for Sasuke. Yes, he was totally cool, handsome, strong, extremely likable. But it felt like the whole world knew Sasuke's name already when he was only 16. I know Orochimaru ordered you all to get here. Does it have anything to do with this mark on his neck? And why are you waiting till now? Were you too scared to fight us beforehand? Sakura scowled as the 3 in front of her must have thought she wouldn't fight back. Mark? I hope she doesn't mean a curse mark. But why would Orochimaru order us to kill the last Uchiha if he wants him? Dosu's mind started being wrapped up in itself as he wondered what was going on. Do you think we are scared of a weak little girl like you? Their sole female with black hair yelled. Yeah. You're just lucky we didn't find you sooner. A spiky-haired boy matched his teammate's energy. If you want my teammate, you will have to take him over my dead body. Sakura declared and ready to fight. She pulled out a small pill from her pouch and quickly swallowed it. A soldier pill. They are used on missions that last long and often leave you up for days on end. They provide extra chakra and energy to your entire body. Before any of them could rush forward and fall for the girl's trap, Dosu lifted up a piece of the grass that looked out of place. This grass is too green and this dirt is freshly planted. Try harder next time. Dosu led the charge as he jumped into the air followed by Kin and Zaku. Sakura cut the invisible wire next to her. They took notice as a snapping was quickly heard. A massive thick tree log that could smash a house quickly swung down from the trees. Such a shame, little girl. Dosu extended his right arm which revealed a large gauntlet that had holes in them. He used his left for a ram hand sign that sent the wood exploding into splinters. What did he just do? All he had to do was touch the log. I should do my best to avoid his right hand. Sakura acted quickly and jetted through hand signs and was about to finish her jutsu. Leaf Hurricane. A green blur appeared from nowhere and easily knocked the 3 sound ninjas away. When the sound team recovered and gained balance again, they could see a young boy with a bowl cut and in an all-green bodysuit with orange leg warmers. My name is Rock Lee, the Hidden Leaf's beautiful blue beast. He proclaimed in his stance ready to fight. Everyone could see from his strong body and well-built stature that Lee was strong. You're just a freak. Dosu spat. Sakura-chan, anytime you are in trouble I will be there to save you. Anytime. He scratched the squirrel's chin which had been posing on his shoulder. He gently placed it on the ground which allowed it to wave goodbye and scatter off. Thank you Lee, I appreciate the concern. Sakura thanked the blushing boy and held her kunai. Dosu narrowed his eyes at the 2 and came to a decision. Zaku, you kill Sasuke. I'm going to kill these 2. Alright, I'll make things quick. Zaku also caught the scroll Dosu tossed to him. Must have been for safekeeping as he was charging right to the enemy. Dosu moved to attack before the Leaf Genin could come up with some kind of plan. Looking him dead in the eyes, Lee shoved his arm into the hard earth like it was just a liquid with how easily his arm went in. And he pulled out the thick root of a tree with one arm and threw it at him. I have an advantage. I've seen his jutsu before while I am still a mystery to him. Lee knew he was still at a disadvantage as it was a 3 versus 1 battle. This meant he had to fight seriously or be defeated, which meant the death of his beautiful Sakura. Damn, he's just as physically strong as Naruto. Why are the small guys so strong? Sakura was amazed as she watched Lee's strength. Dosu was sent backward as the tree log came faster than expected. He thought he would impact into the tree behind him, but instead found his back being crushed by Lee's gauntlet of a leg. Dosu was flung through the air rapidly as he cratered to ground. That is one. Lee landed gently and locked onto his next victim. He saw Zaku and moved to attack. Nah. Zaku aimed his arms and fired a super decapitating airwaves. A stronger variation of the normal jutsu. The airwaves from Zaku's gauntlet moved at the speed of sound as the attack was sharp sound waves infused with a rushing force of air. Lee figured that out as the mix of both airwaves and sound waves knocked him to the ground. It was enough to place him down though as Lee was up the next second and staring Zaku down. He remembered the lesson his sensei was teaching him about using the full strength of your body. Normally, a human can only use 20% of their muscle strength. If you used everything, all 100% of it, it would kill the muscle and turn it into nothing. So the brain puts a cap on how much the body can take. Get it? It's all just in the mind. I understand, Guy Sensei. There's more to it though. This jutsu is different and uses chakra which forces the brain past its limits, allowing for continuous high-speed Tai jutsu. It's a secret technique that can draw out the complete power of the body. Guy Sensei, there is something precious I must protect. Which meets the conditions of the lotus. Lee used his right hand to perform a ram sign and disappeared from thin air. It caught all of them off guard as it looked like Lee was never even there. But really he was just too fast for any of them to see coming. This is why when he landed his next punches on Zaku and Kin, it felt heavier as they had been completely blindsided. Lee was not done as Dosu had finally entered the battle again and Lee wasted no time in attacking him. He appeared crouching under Dosu and quickly high-kicked him into the air. Lee vanished and reappeared behind Dosu in the air. He used his now loose bandages on his hands to trap the sound shinobi. Dosu tried moving but couldn't and only wiggled. Primary lotus. Lee and Dosu came spinning down. They were upside down which meant Dosu was going to land on his head and die from the force. Dosu, I've got you. Zaku had to quickly recover and place his hands in the dirt and send rushing airwaves underneath them. That didn't feel right at all. Lee noticed as he landed next to Sakura. From the large hole in the ground, Dosu got up and only rolled his neck a bit. Man, you finally got that crack out for me. Lee's eyes went wide and he held a face of shock. How did you survive that? That would be thanks to me. Lee and Sakura heard a voice behind them causing their blood to freeze. Decapitating airwaves. Holding out his two arms, Zaku blasted them off right into the next wave of attacks. Don't leave me out. Kin threw a dozen needles at the two. Lee covered Sakura with his body and was stabbed in the back by all the needles. Seeing this, Sakura was once again amazed at how willing Lee was to go to protect her. They impacted the ground and groaned for a bit. Sakura looked at Lee's back which resembled a sticky bug you'd find in the grass. Lee, I'll do the fighting while you recover. I can heal you once this is over. No, Sakura-chan. You are too injured to fight. Lee still climbs to his feet even after the damage he just received. If there is no pain then you haven't done anything. So Lee clenched his back muscles which caused the needles to fly from his back. This kid is physically strong beyond belief. He's super tough, but it's not the outside eye attack. Dosu rushed in which was followed by Lee who ducked under his attack. However, it was too late as Dosu had already activated his melody arm. Immediately, Lee started to feel the effects caused by Dosu. His perception of the world became dizzy and he experienced a new kind of vertigo. You've got quite the fast jutsu there. But ours is even faster. Even when Dosu stood right in front of him and spoke directly to his face. His voice sounded warped and distant. But our jutsu moves at the speed of sound unlike you. Effort by itself does nothing, remember that next time you face a superior opponent. Lee tried to stand and he did. Only to fall seconds later. His body was sluggish and he was finding it hard to just function. The green suit wearing ninja hunched over and threw up his lunch. See this? Dosu pointed to the gray gauntlet with holes on his right arm. I call it melody arm. It lets me use sound to attack. You're using sound vibrations to explode the eternal eardrum. Sakura devised it quickly. Indeed. And the human eardrum breaks with sounds over 150 decibels. And by going deeper and assaulting the semicircular canal which is the deepest part of the ear. I can upset your balance. So he can amplify the impact of sound, blast it, and direct it all in one. But that's all. Outside of his arm, he has nothing. Sakura was now ready and figured out a way to combat Dosu. You're next, girly. Dosu dashed at Sakura who surprisingly rushed back head-on. Dosu swung, and so did Sakura who used her right palm to strike Dosu in his exposed ear. While she used her left arm to block Dosu's attack. Was that supposed to hurt? I didn't feel a thing, little girl. His deep voice mocked Sakura who grinned. Quit your yapping, fool. Dosu couldn't believe it. Somehow, he was getting dizzy and he found the world shifting. His legs gave out and he just stared wide-eyed at the grinning Sakura. What did you do? How can you reverse my effects? Dosu was on his knees and threw up. His brain felt like it was bouncing around in his skull. Your jutsu is not automatic. You must activate it yourself, which meant I just had to hit you before you launched your jutsu at me. I targeted the same thing as you, just with my hands. You don't need a special gauntlet for it. Get back in the lab and think of something better next time. Sakura then proceeded to rock Dosu across the face, which sent him skidding across the ground. Bitch. Zaku screamed. Super decapitating airwaves. Sakura had no hope of dodging as she wasn't able to move that fast. She was barely able to stay on her feet as the strong gust pushed her further and further back. Kin appeared behind Sakura and took a handful of Sakura's hair and began to vigorously pull. Such pretty hair you have, Pinky. Lee stumbled to his feet and moved in to defend Sakura. Leaf Hurricane. The attack was pathetic as Lee completely missed and ended up hitting nothing. This ended up using his strength, which caused him to slump on the ground. Zaku. Hurry up and go kill that Uchiha. Kin yelled to her teammate. Already on it. Zaku yelled at Sasuke. No. Sakura was about to move when Kin yanked Sakura's hair right into her knee. Don't move, just watch. Kin gave a cruel smile as she whispered in Sakura's ear. Watch as you are powerless to do anything. Sakura felt her eyes sting, but she refused to cry. She didn't want them to feel like they won. She had trained to catch up to her two powerhouse teammates. It was killing her. This feeling. It must be what Sasuke felt like the night his family was killed. She hated it. Sakura clenched her fist in the dirt and grit her teeth. I am not going to be weak anymore. Everyone's saving me, I'll protect you all this time. I am strong, I am the spark that brought light to the universe. Sakura pulled a kunai and cut the hair Kin was holding onto, shocking the girl for a moment. Sakura used this to her advantage and decided to strike while she still could. Most ninjas use chakra to amp their bodies for greater effects during battle. Tsunade uses this the best, allowing her to go even further and destroy mountains with just her fist. This is done by channeling chakra at the point of impact and releasing it upon hit. But it needs to be perfect in order to bring out everything. Sakura's right fist found its home on Kin's jaw, who didn't even have time to feel the pain as she was knocked out on contact. The force caused the air to tremble and no doubt shattered Kin's jaw completely. The hell all Zaku saw was Kin being flung several feet away into the forest. He turned and saw Sakura running at him with clear intent to deliver the same treatment Kin received. See, calm down. Zaku released a blast of air from his palms toward Sakura, who was further cut. However, her position was replaced by a log indicating the use of substitution jutsu. This happened 3 more times as Zaku was fooled by the jutsu right after another. So with this next blast, he didn't even bother using much chakra as Sakura was going to use substitution jutsu. Though when the girl above him didn't move, Zaku widened his eyes in fear. Blood splashed on his cheek, which meant this was the real Sakura. Her fist was aimed back and ready to strike, a blow that would leave him in the same condition as Kin. Sound drill. Sakura was drilled in the side by a blast of sound, knocking her off track. Dosu didn't waste time and crashed his foot into Sakura's gut. Enough fooling around. It's time we put an end to all this. I agree. They all looked to the trees to see 2 figures watching from a large branch. It was a Hyuga and a girl with brown buns. Take your sorry excuse of a team and get lost. Niji crossed his arms and looked down on the weaklings. The Hyuga. Dosu felt nervous now. If Niji and this other girl decided to jump in and fight him and a weak Zaku, it would not be easy and they might die. Are you the ones who did that to Lee? The girl asked, glaring. He just got in the way. Dosu then felt his cheek be cut and saw blood drop to his feet. A kunai rested at his feet with his fresh blood dripping down the weapon. Quickly and suddenly, everyone felt an evil chakra creep into the field. They all looked to see Sasuke standing as a murky dark purple wisp of chakra floated off his body like steam. They all felt their bodies tremble with raw primal fear as a monster had risen from its lumber. Sakura trembled vigorously as she saw burning marks spread from Sasuke's neck all the way down to his left hand. Sasuke raised his head and took notice of everything going on as his blazing scarlet Sharingan gazed around with a sharp understanding. His half-closed eyes landed on the brutally damaged Sakura, and only for her. Only long enough and hidden adequately for Sakura to be the only person to take notice of the special look they shared for each other. Sasuke's eyes showed concern and worry for her condition. But it was quickly washed away and replaced by a fierce anger. Sakura, who did this to you? The question was icy but soaked with hot rage. Sasuke didn't even let anyone answer as he moved into action and kicked Dosu through the dirt. Uchiha prick. Zaku aimed his arms at Sasuke and channeled his chakra. He has a curse mark. Why would Lord Orochimaru send us after him then? How did he even survive? Dosu lay on the ground shaking in fear as the monstrous form of Sasuke reminded him of Orochimaru and his terrifying presence. Extreme decapitating airwaves. This was by far the most powerful attack Zaku possessed in his small arsenal of jutsu. The current of air ripped the ground to cinders at the speed of sound to ensure nobody would be able to dodge. Was that your best? Zaku paled, his skin grew cold, sweat caked his face and his heart raced. He wasn't even able to put up a fight when his arms were pulled behind him and they began to be pulled. The only thing Zaku was able to do was scream at the top of his lungs. Stop. LL, let me go. Sasuke pulled hard and caused Zaku's screams to rise. You seem quite attached to your arms. Zaku and Dosu knew what came next. Zaku tried escaping and using his body, but Sasuke only stomped his foot on his back until Zaku was face first into the ground. Sakura watched in surprise as she had never seen Sasuke so brutal before. And the markings clinging to his skin, it must have been affecting him. Sasuke was stronger but also more cold and ruthless. It was all in the evil aura cloaking his body. A part of her had now been desensitized to the brutalities of the shinobi world as she had seen bloodshed and mutilated bodies. A part of her figured she had just killed Kin with that punch moments ago as she hadn't held back. Though, the other side of her. The girl, fangirl and head over heels heroine wanted to run out and leap onto Sasuke and cry about how he wasn't being himself and he needed to stop. Maybe if Sasuke was out of control and couldn't control himself, she'd jump in. However, the brief look they shared clearly made her realize Sasuke was okay and in control of his own actions. So with Sasuke's actions taking place before her eyes, Sakura knew his emotions were being amped by the curse mark covering his face. Oh my god. Is this how the Uchiha truly is? Tenten was slightly put on edge as she was surprised by the cruelty at which Sasuke was dealing his just revenge. Unlike most girls her age, Tenten had already shed her innocent skin as her pile of dead bodies climbed higher with each mission she went on. Though her kills were normally quick and never drawn out and nobody on her team enjoyed inflicting suffering on others. That power it isn't his. What do you mean by that? Tenten turned to her teammate Niji who was using his Byakugan. The power is coming from the mark on his neck. It's taking in chakra from the surroundings or nature to be more specific. Nature? Like nature energy? The same thing the Toad Sannin uses. Tenten saw fit to study the Sannin since she wanted to surpass not just Tsunade, but all of them. And with this intense studying came complex knowledge other genins wouldn't know. Niji nodded. But he can't control it. His body seems to just be drawing all of it in without his permission. I'm surprised he hasn't lost his mind from the dark chakra. I think this deathly forest is making him stronger as it's covered in negative chakra. Down with Sasuke, he pulled hard one more time until everyone heard a popping sound. Zaku screamed one last time before his head was kicked into the dirt. All this for a moment, Sasuke just stood in place and tuned out all the distractions as he relished in the power. This power is just what I needed. I feel like I can do anything with this kind of power. My goal has just become easier. Sasuke began walking in the direction of Dosu who trembled on his feet. His knees were shaking and he wobbled in place. He was about to be devoured by a monster. Sasuke-kun, you can relax now. We've won. They don't want to fight anymore. Sakura walked in front and gently placed a hand on his chest. Sasuke grinned. The opposite of what he normally did. He was all for smirking in condescending ways, but never so broadly showing his mettle like this. Of course not, unless they want to die. Everyone felt a shiver run up their spines at the clear threat. Nobody moved to challenge his might. Not even Niji, who Tenten figured would say something. Tenten, their other teammate is coming, so we won't engage. So that's why. I don't think he knows it. But he acknowledged Naruto as a threat. Same with Sasuke, he's not turning his nose or taunting them like he normally does with those beneath him. Tenten was surprisingly joyful at this. Sasuke took another step, but Sakura increased the pressure on his chest and made Sasuke pause and he finally looked at her abused face. She had a lump forming over her left eye and her cheek was bruised. Her messy pink hair waved in the wind while small scratches marred her body. Their eyes meet again drawing attention to one another. Sasuke began calming down instantly thanks to Sakura's touch. His amped emotional state began to wear off, but not before he acted once more. He raised both his hands and cupped her face, and his eyes showed carnival desire. Inner Sakura was losing her shit. Sasuke let the mark fade back into his shoulder, and everything about him returned back to normal. His hazed-over expression was now back to its placid visage. Are you okay now? Yeah. I don't have a clear picture of all this. But I'm gonna get out while I still can. Dosu threw up his hands in surrender. Hey, I give. Let's make a deal, shall we? I'll give you our scroll and you let me and my team go. At lost. Next time you won't be walking away. Sasuke glared, getting back to his feet to remain an image of strength. Dosu laid his scroll on the ground slowly so as to not provoke any hidden rage. He then moved to Kin, who had unfortunately been killed. This meant they failed this part of the exam and could not go on any further. It didn't matter anyway, he just grabbed Zaku and walked away with his head down. Sakura then moved her head and looked at Team Tent still waiting in the trees. And what do you two want? Tenten jumped down. We're just going to collect our lost teammate. For a reason unknown to Sakura. Tenten was carrying a large expectant smile. It made her look really beautiful with how her cheeks lit up with a healthy fit of life and sparkling brown eyes. Tenten collected Lee and vigorously shook him awake from his cat nap. It seemed to work as Lee blinked a couple of times before groggily speaking. Tenten? Is that you? Lee reached out and began poking her face. Yes, now stop poking me. Annoyed, she moved Lee's hands from her face. What happened to the sound ninja? He looked around and only saw the remains of their battle. Sasuke drove them off. Tenten looked at the Uchiha who was glancing at his own hands and slightly shaking. That power must have left his body in shock. We could easily take them out now, just me and Niji. That's amazing, not even I could do that. Why did you hold back so much against that team anyway, Lee? They shouldn't have done so much damage to you. Tenten pulled the teen up who stumbled for a brief moment. You told me it's best not to lay out all your moves in the first battle. Lee said. Yeah, but if you're about to be killed it's best to just use everything you have. Before Lee could answer back. The ground began to tremble and it only picked up, placing everyone on edge as the vibrations rumbled the forest. Hwahaha. Boisterous laughter came from the forest, causing the two members of Team 7 and Tenten to smile knowingly. But the odd thing about the laughter was that it didn't come from just one person. Rushing from the tree line was a blonde army of Naruto clones who were all dirty from the woods. They didn't have time to ask questions as a monster-sized bull larger than buildings came rushing from the trees after Naruto. Olay. Naruto was on top of the bull and backflipped off it, landing on the ground. Come on, big bad. The bull blew smoke and charged directly at Naruto, who caught the bull by its horns and grinned. He performed a feat that left their mouths hung open. He picked the bull up with minimal effort and threw it hard into the trees. Naruto jumped and dropped like a falling comet onto the bull, which died from the impact of Naruto, who had cloaked his body in chakra for more power. Naruto turned to grin at everyone. Who wants some protein? HMPH, that bull must have been fake. No way a shrimp like you could have done that. See this blood? Smell it. All real. Naruto moved to place his bloody hand in Sasuke's face. And who you calling shrimp? I'm way bigger than you are. If it helps you sleep better. Wanna be put to sleep? Can you two just kiss already? Sakura, that's gay. Naruto turned and gave her a deadpan. Her brow twitched. And here I was happy to see you. Well, I'm glad you guys are okay. I tried following your guys' chakra, but my sensing skills still need a little work. I just barely felt Sasuke's chakra spike. Naruto grinned at his rival. Man, you've gotten strong. I didn't know you had that kind of power inside you. Yeah. Sasuke didn't meet Naruto's eyes as he recalled the feeling of that overwhelming power inside of him. Naruto-kun. Tenten jumped on Naruto's back smiling. Hey. I'm glad you're okay. Naruto returned the expression as Tenten got off, still smiling. Did you help out these two? Tenten shook her head in the negative. Lee did, we only just showed up. Really? Thanks, Lee. It was my pleasure. I saw Sakura-chan in need and had to help her. Lee saluted. Oh, Sakura-chan. Naruto's face grew into a devious grin. Hey Sakura, I didn't know you had charmed Lee. Say, was he your knight in shining armor? Did he come in and swoop you off your feet? Before Naruto could continue on, Sasuke stepped in to save Naruto from the clobbering he was about to get. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the scroll I got. He's definitely jealous. Naruto and Tenten shared the same look and thought, causing both of them to chuckle together. That's great, Sasuke, because I got a large supply of scrolls. Naruto pulled out a plain scroll. Release. Out came a healthy amount of scrolls. Shadow clones go a long way. I was basically my own mini village in the forest. No team stood a chance. Wow. Tenten's eyes lit up and she leaned up against Naruto and blinked her eyes cutely. Hey, Naruto-kun. Do you mind if I can have a scroll? I'd really appreciate it. I'll even make it up to you later. She put a blush on her face and felt along his arms while making direct eye contact. Naruto looked away and started stuttering. His boxers started getting tight, causing him to freak and blush. What the hell, Tenten? She's turning me on. Tenten internally grinned and knew she was about to win. So to wrap this up, she tilted her head and smiled cutely. Got him. Yeah, go right ahead. Lee looked confused and looked from Tenten to Naruto. Niji frowned. Pathetic. No way, Naruto. Sasuke sighed and shook his head. She made that look easy. Maybe I should try it on Sasuke. Thanks. Tenten leaned up and kissed Naruto on the cheek quickly. See you at the tower. Naruto blinked, still blushing, and felt his cheek. Need some lotion. Shut up. Naruto was knocked out of his stupor and sealed the scrolls back up. Let's just head to the tower. We don't need to spend another night here. Naruto left without waiting for the other three. What if Naruto snaps at Sasuke wave? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.